Alright, welcome to the SOLO4LIFE podcast. We're going to try a different approach this time. I got some gaming news topics I want to run through. We have Alex supposed to drop in soon, but me and Blake will just talk for a little bit while we're waiting on him, because I definitely want to go around the table about how everyone feels about these certain things. Some of them are going to be fun, some of them are going to be, maybe they're all fun, but anyway, Blake is the only one in our group that's playing Dragon's Dogma 2, and I think he's excited to talk about it.
Wasn't Alec? Didn't Alex say he was playing it?
I believe he said he was thinking about it, getting it.
Oh, okay. I thought somebody else said they were playing it. Maybe it was Dennis.
I don't know. So how is it? Is it the game of your dreams, or?
I actually wrote down a pretty big list of pros and cons about the game. Uh, we'll start with some pros. The combat is pretty enjoyable. It's nothing really to revolutionize, the genre or anything like that. But uh, it's satisfying. It's cool. The build variety has a lot to do with it. Each vocation plays very different from the others. I would say if you were to play, I would highly recommend you go as a thief. You play as a thief. I think that would be the class that would be the most towards your liking. You probably wouldn't be much interested in any of the other ones except maybe warrior,
Mm,
which is a two-handed class. You're using a big two-hander sword.
right.
But I would say if you were to ever play this game, play as a thief. And
What a thief
I don't.
exactly?
Well, you have a dodge. It's the only class that I know of in the game that has a dedicated dodge move.
Hmm.
And I know you do a lot of no dodge challenge stuff, but I don't know. I just feel like what I know about your gaming taste, I feel like Thief would click with you the most. It's the fastest class. I know you like to play kind of fast. You're always using the fast rolling and the lightweight in Dark Souls and Elden Ring. So I just feel like that would probably speak to you the best.
Yeah, nothing makes me cringe more than whenever I dodge and I just looks like I'm tripping on the ground.
Right. Yeah. None of the other classes even have a dodge. You have to just run around.
Like Barrett dodging as him is embarrassing. I don't even know why they bothered giving him a dodge button because he just
Yeah.
falls on the ground.
You fat rolls.
Yeah, he fat rolls. He's the fat rolling character. That's why I like using Red 13 a lot because he's a fast roller, and then Cloud is the next. I'm not sure about the girls because I didn't play as them enough. Aerith is really her role is terrible. It's not even a roll. It's just kind of a skip basically.
Like a sidestep,
Yeah, I
like a
can't.
Bloodborne sidestep.
Right. So I didn't play as the girls very much unless the game made me play as them because there were certain segments where like, oh, you're playing as all the girls right now.
Yeah, I had read in one review that they kind of make you play as different characters in mandatory sections and they make you use different party members, so you basically get a feel. They make you try to get a feel for all the characters.
Yeah, that's one. They didn't really do a good job of having forcing the player to explore their combat mechanics because I still didn't like playing as Yuffie or Aerith. Tifa was probably really the best girl character I like playing as the most, but I still didn't put her in my team. I don't know if I just don't understand how. I think it's just because I don't understand how to use Yuffie or Aerith. I'm sure they're good to a certain extent, but I just always use Cloud, Barrett, and Red 13. Kate Sith, I didn't like using him. I mean, he had a very interesting move set, but it was just more. He just throws a big dice on the ground, and then whatever pops up. It was a very luck based character. So
Interesting.
I mean, there was an effective way to play as him, but it got boring
Sounds
really quickly.
unique.
Yeah, and he summons this robot uh, Moogle, this large Moogle that he rides on the top of, and you can
Like a mech.
right, yeah, and you can actually separate from him, and he'll also fight. So you kind of have two characters with you.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it was definitely a fascinating character, but I didn't go out of my way to use him in my party.
And you didn't get to play as the Vincent guy that everybody likes.
No, I was hoping, but I had a feeling that they were going to, save him for the third part. I was kind of
They
hoping that
probably
they would
will.
do the same thing they did with Red 13, where you played with him in certain sections of the first game, but they didn't let you touch Vincent at all. So definitely looking forward to that.
He looks like the most interesting character.
Yeah, I didn't know he was a vampire. Walk into the room and
Oh,
he's sleeping in a coffin. I was like, oh man! And seeing his outfit made me miss Castlevania so much. I'm like, man, I wish they would just make a Castlevania game because
yeah, he has a very striking design.
yeah, the aesthetics that they could create is just I don't know. I guess it's nostalgic for me.
Who does Castlevania? Is it Konami?
hmm
Yeah.
I think Square Enix would make a killer Castlevania game. Here we go. Here's Alex.
Oh, hello, sir.
Oh, we got some Christmas lights.
How you doing this fine evening, sir? He looks confused.
That was a stupid, crazy movie, by the
What
way.
was it?
Life. It's just a
Life?
sci-fi movie. It like
I've
came
never
out.
heard of that.
Yeah, like came out in 2017. Has Jake Gyllenhaal, Ryan
Huh.
Reynolds.
Life 2017.
We've
Oh, that's that space movie.
Yeah, dude. Like, so I don't like futuristic like aesthetics like cyberpunk, but man, do I love like space horror. You know what I mean? Like
Cause
cosmic
Neither
aliens.
one of you guys are into the Cyberpunk 2077 game, are you?
No, I tried
no, I
getting
never
into
tried it.
it, but played
I
for
tell
about
you
a
what,
week.
when they introduced the 2.0 update and the Phantom Liberty expansion, that's what I was in. I was playing right before Dragon's Dogma 2 came out was Phantom Liberty, and I mean it's incredible the turnaround that the game had. It's a lot of fun. They do a
Hmm.
lot of good stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah, did you say you had been playing Dragon's Dogma, Alex, or you had wanting to?
I want to. I
Oh,
like
okay.
just like finally paid off that huge deal of bills.
Yeah,
So I'm like, yeah.
yeah.
But that's why I was thinking Pacific Drive because it's only $30. And
You should get Helldivers on your PC.
that was the other one I wanted to get.
It's a lot of fun. They've been adding some pretty cool stuff to it.
Yeah,
I haven't played it in a few weeks. I need to jump back on.
it says you're playing right now.
Helldivers?
Yeah.
yeah. How you doing that, Blake?
I'm playing Dragon's Dogma right now. That's actually insane. That's really weird. Huh.
You haven't sent us a picture of what your character looks like.
In
Yeah,
Dragon's
prove it.
Dogma?
Yeah. Is
Prove
he,
it.
All right, bet.
did you make yourself?
No, I made a beastrin.
Oh, that's right. You said you created a lion character, right?
Yeah. And I named him Aslan from Chronicles of Narnia.
There's an Absalon in One Piece too, but he's a perv.
Oh,
Yeah, I remember the Life movie came out in 2017, and then when Venom came out in 2018, people were teasing saying Life was the prequel to Venom because the alien looked like a symbiote.
Oh god, just the whole movie really was. I don't watch a lot of movies. Actually, I haven't watched them. I think this is my third movie this year. And what got me to wanting to watch it, I don't know. Actually, I was just on Amazon Prime, but I watched Roadhouse. Have you seen the new Roadhouse that just came out?
I have
No.
not. My mom watched it and she said it was not very good.
I liked it.
But she grew up with the original one, so that might be a
Yeah.
reason.
See, I didn't. Like,
Yeah, it's hard to beat the first Roadhouse.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
I haven't seen the first one,
Roadhouse.
but the new one, I liked a lot, actually. I like, because I think the last movie I watched was when Spaceman came out. And then
Yeah.
before that, it was like whatever Raiden wanted to watch was all I watched, besides One Piece.
All
So
right. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna send y'all that.
kind of nice to watch a few movies. What
Really.
about you, Zach?
What about it?
Lucy, are you okay? What are you doing?
What movies are you watching?
You okay,
Um,
Mama?
I haven't watched anything in a while. Well, I think the last thing I watched was my friend Toro
Lucy,
Toro,
no, get down.
um,
You okay,
Studio
Mama?
Ghibli movie.
Oh yeah,
It was the second film they made.
yeah,
It
I
was
like that one.
okay. I mean, it was visually wonderful, of course, like they all are. But the story wise, I just didn't really
Mm-hmm.
care for it.
Did you watch Howl's Moving Castle?
Oh yeah, I thought
I like that.
that was good. My favorite one is still Spirited Away.
Yeah, that's the very first one I ever
I really,
watched.
I've never really watched any of the Studio Ghibli movies except all that. The one, there's one I watched that's so super fucking sad. Uh, about it was like about post atomic bomb Japan or something like that.
Hmm.
That sounds.
Oh, where the fireflies cry, or where the fireflies, something about fireflies.
Nah, I didn't watch that one then.
The Last of Us.
Oh, dude, it was no, that wasn't it. But it was super fucking sad.
What was the other movie?
And then I really wanted to see The Boy and the Heron.
When you get
It looks really
DoorDash.
interesting. Do what?
I think Alex got DoorDash.
I did.
Oh,
I
You got
wanted a Red Bull.
what'd you order?
Oh, but don't worry. Holy fuck, this thing's heavy.
All right, I sent y'all that. I sent the screenshot to the chat of my character.
That's how you DoorDash,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah, he looks cool. Maybe I'll remember to post it in editing. It's a nice shot. You're missing a castle
Yeah.
and a moon in the background.
Well, I'm in a cave. I'm in a cave right now. Like I said, I'm hunting the headless horseman, and I think I found him, and he was across a body of water, and you cannot go in water in this game at all. But so I found this cave, and it looks like it's leading me across the river.
So, what do you think are the best parts of Dragon's Dogma? What's
All right,
like?
so I'm glad you're in here now. Are you okay, Mamas? So I wrote down a pretty big list of pros and cons. So the pros, the combat's really enjoyable. The build variety has a lot. Then the flexibility of builds has a lot to do with that. I've been playing a lot as a mage and a sorcerer. Sorcerer and mage play similar but different. Mage is more based off of support and healing with a little bit of offensive firepower mixed in. And then sorcerer is straight up glass cannon, and you're just dishing out high damage spells. But the catch is that they take a super long time to cast, so you have to position yourself in a smart place, and you have to try to make sure your pawns are tanking the actual enemy's attention. They're getting the enemy's attention, or else you're not going to get your spells off. And I've managed to unlock the ultimate spells for the mage and the sorcerer. The ultimate spell for the mage is this massive buff that buffs the entire party to negate damage and to prevent status debilitations. And the ultimate spell, there's two ultimate spells for sorcerer. One is calling down a meteor shower, which absolutely decimates things. And then the other one summons a giant tornado that also decimates things. But like I said, they both take like 10 to 15 seconds to cast. So you have to position yourself well, or if you get hit once, it knocks you out of the cast animation. You have to start over. But and then I played a little bit of Archer to progress a side quest. And and then my pawn has been a warrior, my main pawn, because I hire a couple of other pawns from the community, and I was usually running a thief and an archer, but when I switched to sorcerer, I missed the healing capabilities of the mage so much that I sent the archer away and hired a mage. So now I'm running sorcerer, mage, warrior, and thief. But yeah, the pawn system is really cool. It's something that I didn't really come to appreciate in the first Dragon's Dogma. I guess I just didn't get it. Maybe I don't know. The main story has been pretty engaging. I like how that's going. It gives off a little bit of Game of Thrones vibes, not quite as violent, but it's pretty interesting. The field bosses have been fantastic. They have quite a few of them. You got Cyclops, ogres, griffins, lesser drakes, golems, manticore, or no, they're not called manticores in this game. Chimeras, Medusas. As far as I know, actually, there's only one Medusa. She's like a special boss, but there's multiples of all the other ones. And then there's a couple more that I'm forgetting. Oh, there's these necromancer type field bosses that are pretty cool. And then, like I said, I'm hunting the headless horseman right now, so that's another, I think, unique one. But those are a highlight. The level design is pretty cool. You know, it's open world, but a lot of the caves will connect you to a different part of the map. Like you'll enter the cave and it's a pretty long cave. You're going along and then you'll come out and you're like on the other side of the map, which is pretty cool. There are lots of interesting mechanics, like, you know, climbing on top of these bosses, and especially the griffins, where you climb on top of it and it can fly you away and take you to its nest. I haven't managed to pull that off yet, but it flew off with one of my pawns one time, which really made me sad. There's Dragon's Plague, which I'm not going to spoil unless you want to look it up. The brine, which I thought that was really interesting. So the brine, so I mentioned earlier that you can't go in water in this game. And the reason they had for that, they had this in the first game too, and they had an explanation. They had more of an explanation for it. They haven't really given you one in this game. And I can't really remember what the explanation was, but the brine is this mystical, like evil entity or whatever that kills anything that goes in like waist deep or higher water. And if you go into any water that's like waist deep or higher, it's going to kill you. And it won't just kill you, it'll kill enemies and bosses too. So if you can make it, what'd you say?
That was the most silent cough I've ever seen.
Oh.
Sorry.
So if you can manage to push enemies or throw enemies into water or make them fall into deep water, you win automatically. And then one of the most interesting kind of vague mechanics is the way the upgrade system works. Depending on where you do your upgrading, whether it be in the human forge in the main town, the dwarf forge in the Beastren zone, or the elf forge in the elf village, different stats for what you're upgrading will upgrade higher. Like if you're upgrading in the human forge, your stats will upgrade in a balanced manner. If you upgrade in the dwarf forge, your physical stats and bonuses will upgrade higher. And if you upgrade your stuff in the elf forge, your magical stats will upgrade higher. So I thought that was really interesting and unique. And then probably my favorite part of the game so far has been the Sphinx. The Sphinx was so cool. The design, the animations of her, the dialogue, she's really, really cool. She gives you 5 riddles once you find her, and she's in this really, really interesting, like, remote location that you just kind of have to stumble upon. And the riddles make you go basically all over the map to find the the solutions for them. So that was really cool. And once you solve the 5 riddles, she flies off somewhere else, and you have to find her again to solve more riddles. I haven't found her the second time yet, but that was probably my favorite part of the game. But yeah, before I go on to the cons, you guys have anything to say about that? Any questions?
The headless horseman. In order to kill him, do you have to give him his head, and then it regrows,
I-
and then he pours blood into a woman's mouth, and then he jumps into the tree of the dead?
No, I don't think so. But the quest that sends you after him is this woman saying that her husband went looking for him and he never came back. So, but the location he's in is kind of unique. It's this misty. It's called something. The misty something. The misty marshes. And you can't really see shit. It's really foggy, and the sun, it's always dark. There's always nighttime because the sun can't shine through. It's pretty all right. I haven't found him yet. I think I might have seen him. He kind of, if it's what I'm looking at, then he doesn't really look much different than a regular necromancer field boss, and he doesn't really look like he's on a horse. But I'll have to get closer to make sure.
Is he a Dullahan?
Yes. I think that's exactly what they called it.
Because usually that's what they're called in medieval settings.
I think that's exactly what the lady called it, yeah.
Alex,
moving
make sure
on to
you're a
some
little
of
bit
the-
closer to the mic so we can hear you. So the recording will
moving
get
on
you.
to some of the cons,
Do it.
there are some things that bring this game down. You know, mob variety gets really stale, especially after the amount of time I put into the game. I'm level 37, and I'm like closing in on 60 hours. But the way they have the fast travel just exacerbates this issue. But you're running through the levels, and you're just constantly. It's the mob variety and the mob density. You're just constantly running into groups of goblins, and then you'll kill all the goblins, and then you'll run another 10 seconds, and you run into a pack of wolves, and then you kill the wolves, and then you run into a pack of bandits, and then while you're fighting the bandits, maybe a Cyclops shows up, and those are good parts. I like it when a field boss shows up because that kind of shakes it up in a more interesting way. But just constantly fighting off these basic ass mobs that you've been fighting for hours, and then getting maybe 10-15 seconds of reprieve in between encounters, and then you're going and running into some harpies, and then stuff like that. It got really stale pretty quickly. And then the biome diversity is pretty poor. The whole first part of the map is just basically forest woodlands besides the misty marsh area. And then the second biome is just a giant desert canyon type zone. And now I'm pretty sure there's a third zone that's like a volcanic area, but I haven't gotten to that yet. So if that's it, then there's only 3 unique biomes. And I mean, that's not like a deal breaker or anything, but it kind of sucks. The side quests, they are pretty hit or miss. A lot of them are, pretty boring and outdated design wise. It's fetch quests, escort quests, just things like that. The relationship system is really, really. It's honestly, they could have done without it. Most of the characters aren't really that memorable. Even the main characters, honestly, the most memorable characters I've come across are the pawns that I've hired. So, which I mean, that's fine. They're the people in my party, but and I've already mentioned the fast travel. It's not good. It's unique and it's interesting, but it's not good, and it's because of the fact that the mob variety and mob density is so poor. And then obviously we have the performance issues, which honestly, they haven't bothered me that much, but they are present. The update they just came out with has improved it a lot, where you can switch off ray tracing and you can switch off motion blur. Those options were not in the game at launch, but with this last update, they've done it, and I can tell quite a significant improvement in performance in the frame rate, and that's been okay. But switching off the ray tracing, it actually affected the aesthetics and visuals of the map pretty significantly, almost as significantly as it improved the frame rate. The lighting is a lot different without the ray tracing on. And then, they have the microtransactions, which are pretty stupid, but it's not that much of a deal breaker. But yeah, that's basically rounds out my pros and cons of the game. I would give it, right now, it's sitting at an 8 out of 10 for me.
Who's is the who? What creature creates a bridge? Is that the ogre?
The Cyclops. And
Cyclops.
I think the ogres might be able to do it, but the Cyclops, there's a trophy. There's a trophy for getting a Cyclops to do it.
So is the Cyclops kind of like the punching bag of the game?
So it's funny. It's definitely the weakest field boss by far. It only has 2 health bars. Most of the other field bosses have 3 health bars and up. Drakes have like 6 health bars. Griffins have 4. Chimeras have 4. Ogres have 3. Shoot. Yeah, but the Cyclops are definitely. You see a Cyclops, and you're like, oh, okay, this will be quick, because, like I said, they only have 2 health bars, but I mean, they die pretty quickly.
So, like I mentioned before in the chat, are there any variations to where you can create a bridge with a Cyclops?
So there's plenty of different areas where you can pull it off. I can see, okay, there's a gap right here. Oh, there just so happens to be a Cyclops over there. Maybe if I shoot it with an arrow or shoot it with some magic, I can get it to run over here and trip and fall. But I actually haven't been able to pull that off yet. The thief has this skill where he kind of grapples this grapple hook and rope on an enemy and yanks them. So I'm guessing that I would need to try to take advantage of that somehow. But that would probably require me switching to a thief myself, because I don't think this pawn AI is quite advanced enough to pull it off by itself.
I think there's a lot of missed potential there, because let's just say you're on a high cliff and you want to get down that cliff. Yeah. You reach inside the Cyclops' butt and rip out his intestines, use it as a rope to go down. Or if you're
that's pretty insane, yeah.
You go up on top of the mountain. Oh man, I need to get down to the bottom of this mountain, but I have no other way because the rocks are too sharp. So you just climb on top of a Cyclops and you basically just sharpen his body all the way down. You remember the episode of American Dad where Stan becomes old and he's on top of this mountain, but he wants to get down fast, so he jumps on top of this ox or something and grinds this ox down to his head. And I think that would have been a great way to traverse on the Cyclops.
They do have one way that you can get down from high places pretty quickly. They have these areas where you can like slide down. It's like a slide, and you just kind of like slide down the mountain. But that video I sent in the chat, I thought was a really creative way for a player to get themselves down from a high place. She literally threw her pawn off the cliff. The pawn died from the fall. Mm-hmm. So she was using a magic archer class, and she shot the pawn with a healing arrow that brought her back to life. And then she just jumped off the cliff. And when you jump off of high places, the pawns will run and try to catch you because you're their master. And I just thought that was really, really creative and cool way to get down from a high place.
Yeah, it was cool. You can't send your pawns down there or tell them to stay down there. I'm just thinking about different ways it could have been done. I mean, I wasn't playing, so I'm unaware of the restrictions for that one spot.
Pawns,
Sounds like a much more fun option.
Do what?
The sacrifice sounds like a much more fun option.
I thought it was hilarious and fun. Yeah, just to see that. I thought about, because I don't have the Magic Archer class unlocked yet. I haven't found where to unlock it yet. But yeah, I would definitely be willing to try that because it looks fun. But I think that if I tried to experiment and get a little more creative, I might be able to find some other ways to do things. But the Pawns AI isn't that advanced. Like, you have 4 main commands for them. Go, like, and if you hit go, they will like try to, if you have a quest objective selected, they will try to lead you to that quest objective. And then they have to me is another one of the commands where they just come to you and they just hang around right next to you. And then they have wait, and they'll just stay in one spot until you tell them otherwise, or you get too far away. And then the other command is help, and I'm not sure exactly what that does. Maybe they'll heal you or something, but I haven't actually used that one. But those are the only 4 commands that you have to give the pawns.
They help you pay your bills.
If you fuck around, they'll be like, the guards will be like Skyrim, and they'll attack you and they'll put you in jail. And then you have to, if you want to get out, you can try to find a way to break out, or you can bribe the guards to let you out.
Can you put any of them on a leash?
No. That would be funny. That might be a little too suggestive. Is the game rated M? Let me see.
Just dehumanize people.
Yeah, have a female on a leash and she's completely naked.
It is indeed rated M for mature. So they could have missed opportunity, I reckon.
I don't even know the last game that was rated A, or potentially rated A.
What's A? Oh, adult?
Yeah, adult only. They have. I don't even know any game that is.
The only one that
I
comes to my
can't think
mind
of
is
any.
San Andreas.
Yeah, man.
Was that one rated adult?
I believe so, and then because they had the sex
Yeah,
option.
you literally fuck prostitutes in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was one where you would see them actually having sex. There was a mini game.
Right, hot
That's
coffee.
why they made San Andreas rated A. Rate A.
Zach remembered the name of the mini game.
It was fun.
He's
I didn't have
partaking
the
in
original, but
plenty of hot coffee.
I just know about it.
He just knows about it.
Here are some games, and of course they're properly titled: The Joy of Sex, 1993, All Nude Glamour, 1997, All Nude Nikki, 1998, Erotic Heat, Volume 4, Body Language, 1998, Sexy Games, 2000. Well, let's see if there's anything on.
I love how the criteria you need to meet to become rated A is just sex. It doesn't matter how violent.
Manhunt 2 in 2009 uncut was rated A.
Oh, okay.
It was gory.
There's not that many actually.
What you never see in games is games where they let you like kill kids. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, this is kind of hard to get past that one.
It is.
I don't particularly search for games that do that.
No, me neither. But I've seen that mentioned before in conversations on Twitter, talking about how like most games, that have kids in them, or a lot of games don't have kids in them at all when they give you like freedom to do violence and stuff. Like there's no kids at all in GTA, is there?
No.
Or dog.
No.
There is a dog, but like that's it. That's all you see is that one dog.
See, in Cyberpunk, you have free reign, sort of like GTA, to just shoot or kill whoever you want, except certain story NPCs. And then there actually are children in Night City. But if you try to aim your gun at any of the important story NPCs or at any children, it just makes your gun go to the side. It won't let you do anything.
I would love to see a game brave enough where you can actually kill story NPCs and they stay dead, and then whatever
Oh,
unfolds does.
Dragon's Dogma does that.
Oh, really?
Weird
Yeah, you
West.
can kill anybody.
And the story just continues?
No, it'll lock you out of the
It
story.
changes.
Really? That's interesting. So
Yeah,
nothing, no
you'll brick
negative
your save.
consequences?
And Weird
Besides bricking your save.
Try not to talk at the same time.
Oh, my bad.
Weird West, that one definitely has consequences, but you can kill anybody. Uh, the
Isn't that
game,
the vampire game?
well, yeah, kind of. It has like all manners of grimoire or whatever you call them, Brothers Grimm
Yeah.
lore monsters. Like sirens and stuff like that.
I've
It's
heard
pretty
that
fun.
it's a good game from some people, and I've heard it's kind of just okay from others.
It's a good game. I like it a
Yeah.
lot, and you play as different characters throughout the game.
I've
So
heard it's similar to God of War.
no,
E-
that's
Yeah.
Evil West is.
yeah. Evil West.
Evil West. That's what I'm thinking of.
I'm talking about Weird West, which is an RPG. It's like you got your character, you level up and everything, but then, uh,
Evil West is a vampire game.
yeah, I believe so. I played only a little bit of it, but it seems kind of cool. Um,
Sounds like Sexy West.
that's why it's called Weird. Weird West is definitely I don't know. I played it a while ago and I picked it back up because I wanted to. I don't know. I enjoyed it back then, but then I got distracted by other games, so I thought I'd try it again because it was free on PSN like a month or two ago.
It was on Game Pass too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on Game Pass, and that's where I originally played it. They removed it when I wanted to get back to it, and then PlayStation immediately after had it, and I was like, all right, oh cool.
Yeah, it's funny. I bought Immortals of Avium, which was that Magic FPS that came out last year. They had the deluxe $100 version on Xbox on sale for like $6. So I had like $12 on my Xbox account, so I just picked it up. And then for April, they made it part of the PS Plus games.
Well, at least you only paid $6 for
Yeah,
it.
All right, well, let's. Oh, sorry, Alex.
Oh, I was just gonna say the only other game that I have played recently that is of a note, and definitely I have heard nothing about this game, but I enjoy it. It's called Sunless Sea. It's another one of those Lovecraftian games because I go out of my way to find them. Is you ever heard of Barrow Trauma?
no.
No.
Well, this isn't. It has like that feel of Barrow Trauma. It doesn't play like it, but so you're on your ship, and you're basically living in an apocalypse where the entire sea has been drenched over by bats or something like that, and now it's just always dark. And
That's
so
interesting.
you have to you ride your ship across the sea, and you're trying to like just get whatever you can to make money. You're taking up jobs, you're delivering stuff, but it is just stupid hard because like your fuel is running out fast and it is not easy to keep up on. And when you see a monster, you can fight it, but like it's like really suggested that you try to avoid fights as much as you can to conserve resources like fuel.
Sounds like Dredge.
Yeah, no, it's way well. It's what led me to want to play it, but like it definitely is much more advanced, a lot more dark and depressing, or not depressing. Well, yeah, depressing is probably a good word for it, but it's very, very dark and like creatures under the sea and stuff like that. Like a giant squid whose eye just pops up and it completely engulfs like your whole ship. That's how big the eye is, kind of thing.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's a top down, but yeah, I don't know, man. That's I just randomly picked up for like $5, and you know what? Like, I have to say it's a really good game, and it's fucking hard because every time you die, you you give off your traits to a successor, and you just keep going. So every time your captain dies, you get a new captain, and you just continue.
That is interesting.
They should release.
So it's like sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying they should release a game that's so depressing that it comes with antidepressants. And
Or Razorblade.
it'd be a huge gimmick too. Like, here we go, guys! I got my antidepressants ready. It's gonna be a great playthrough.
It's just multiple scenes, like the very first scene in The Last of Us.
Right. It just gets worse and worse, like that movie.
Kittens and stuff. Like,
what's the name of that movie where the level drops and it contains food that all the people ordered? Platform. Yeah.
That's a crazy movie.
That movie was very depressing.
Oh. And then once you get to the bottom, there's like you're like eating
dead people.
Yeah, because everyone has food at the bottom, so they start eating each other.
I think I had heard something about that.
That moment when he woke up and he found that girl dead, and he looked down below and found a bunch of dead bodies, and it was so dark. That was very chilling to me.
The movie, those social experiment movies, like I think all of them are genuinely depressing. Like, what's that one with Forrest Whitaker? Where they take 60 people. They make 30 of them guards and 30 of them prisoners, and then leave them in an enclosed prison for an allotted amount of time. And
it's a pretty common social experiment.
Yeah, and because they were the guards, they started like getting this feeling
power trip.
Then like start going crazy. And then there's another one that I really liked. It was about these violent kids in juvie. And I think it was like, man, I was just watching it on Facebook recently again. It's a good movie. Like, it's fucking, I just can't remember what it is.
No, I'm laughing because I farted and it looked like the mic picked it up.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you can't even hear your cough.
Well, whatever. Every time I make a noise, and my box turns green, and same with y'all. And when I farted, my box turned green.
All right, are you guys ready for the gaming topics? The gaming news topics.
Ready.
All right,
I'm ready.
Our first one comes from Game Rant. Miyazaki is absolutely right about Dark Souls 2. For whatever reason, Miyazaki was talking to IGN of all people. I feel like they should be talking to a better company, but so
it's the number one gaming site in the world,
So anyway, Miyazaki made some big statements about Dark Souls 2 impact on the From Software's future, and so basically, I've been saying this for years that Dark Souls 2 has probably been the most ambitious game, and Elden Ring is definitely evidence of this. Let me see if I can find where he actually was talking, where they quote him. All right.
It's interesting that he would make those comments, seeing as how he wasn't even on the development team.
Okay, here we go. When looking back on Dark Souls 2 a whole decade later, one core feature of the game shines through, and that's its ambition. While From Software could have just played it safe for the sequel to its surprise 2011 hit, it decided instead to be as ambitious and innovative as possible. And though the execution of those ambitious ideas left a little to be desired, those initial concepts were pivotal in creating some of Elden Ring's best features, just as Miyazaki recently stated. One big feature of Dark Souls 2 that found its way to Elden Ring was its wealth of build options. The original Dark Souls and Dark Souls 3 have infamously poor mage builds, but almost right from the bat, Dark Souls 2's magic-based builds shine. Dark Souls 2 also introduced power stancing, which allowed players to dual-wield a vast selection of weapons, most of which had unique double attack animations. Pairing all of this with the game's still impressive number of weapons, spells, and shields, and it's easy to see where Elden Ring took direct inspiration. Another major idea that seems to have been brought forward from Dark Souls 2 is a focus on larger areas. Though Dark Souls 2's map is much more linear and less interconnected than its predecessor, the individual locations feel much grander than most of Demon Souls and even some of Dark Souls when looking back on Dark Souls 3. Larger areas like Iriathol of the Boreal Valley feel as though they are continuations of this Dark Souls 2 idea, and of course many of Elden Ring's own locations also seem to be a natural evolution of this core concept. So what do you guys think about that?
I think I definitely agree with a lot of that stuff. I'm not sure. Is he saying that magic builds or mage builds are not good in Dark Souls 3 for Demon Souls? Is that what he's saying?
That's what
Is that what he said?
this is what they said based on the interview they had with Miyazaki. I don't know if he directly stated it or not, but this is what they're
'Cause I
coming off
disagree with
of.
that.
Yeah,
Now, I do think that magic was really strong in Dark Souls 2, especially hex magic. But magic has been strong in basically all the games.
I wouldn't know. I haven't used them at all. So
Yeah, but yeah, it really is.
I've been using a pyromancer build in Dark Souls 3 on my second go around, but I'm still stuck in Ashes of Ariandel.
So it's amazing how I don't know how much the hate has calmed. I don't know if the hate has calmed down for Dark Souls 2. I don't really connect myself with the community as much as I used to. However, it's undeniable that Dark Souls 2
basically just a
influenced
meme.
Elden Ring incredibly. You know, it's just Elden Ring is basically a reimagined version of Dark Souls 2 in my opinion.
Dark Souls 2.
I think it's like an amalgamation of all the games,
Yes.
and then just put in an open world.
Yeah, I mean, you could say it's really a reimagining of the entire Dark Souls trilogy, basically.
Yeah.
You know, all combined
And
into one.
Bloodborne and Sekiro.
Maybe a little bit. Yeah,
Hey,
just
I don't
smaller
see too much
aspects.
Sekiro influence.
Yeah.
Like the old
Well, what about Sekiro? I mean, you got Melania, of course, which is the most Sekiro
Yeah.
boss.
She's the most Sekiro-like boss for sure.
Ashes of
If-
War, I feel like was inspired by Sekiro.
Well, that's in Dark
The
Souls 3.
the remembrances you get from the Elden Ring bosses are a direct
That's
inspiration
true.
from
Good point.
Sekiro.
You can change your Ashes of War in Dark Souls 3.
No, but they're
No, I don't know.
I
You
mean, they're
can't.
battle arts in Dark
In
Souls 3.
Sekiro,
Just-
you can.
Yeah, they're weapon arts, but you can't change them.
Yeah, you
Right.
can't change the battle arts in Sekiro.
So I think that's
So
Yeah,
that's
you
definitely
can.
that
one
was
thing.
my connection to it, anyways.
And you also have prosthetics, you know, technically.
Yeah.
That's true.
There's also the left arm. Is it? Wait, or is it the right arm? Am I getting that
It's
mixed
the
up?
left arm.
It is the right arm. Yes,
Okay,
the
never
right
mind.
arm.
Yeah, never mind.
I was gonna say for the dragon. Well, I guess you can put it in either arm.
But like with Sekiro, the prosthetic is on your right arm in Sekiro, and then with Melania, her prosthetic is also her right arm.
Wait, Sekiro is his right arm? I thought it was his left arm.
I'm almost positive it's his right arm.
I can't access my desk is a mess. Anyone want to pull up the cover real quick?
Yeah.
Because I don't want. I
I'm
got
looking.
another.
Oh man, it is his left arm. It is his left arm. I'm looking at the key art for the game right now. It's his left arm.
Okay. Well, any more thoughts on Dark Souls 2 inspiring future From Software games? And Miyazaki statements.
Kiro Core Ring. I'm looking forward to it.
What is it?
One thing that would have been interesting to bring back from Dark Souls 2 and even Sekiro is the ability to activate a sort of hard mode. You know what I mean? Like the Company of Heroes from Dark Souls 2. Isn't that what it's called?
Covenant of Champions?
Covenant of Champions. That's what it is, yeah. And then in Sekiro, you have the Demon Bell and Kuro's Charm, which are two
Well, you
different mechanics that can make the game harder.
have something in Elden Ring that increases the difficulty. It's a talisman.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it looks like a
yeah.
face. I think it's some kind of face.
I remember what you're talking about now. Yeah, you're right.
I don't know about Armored Core though.
I think it makes you take more damage or something like that.
Right, that's what it usually is.
No, I don't think Armored Core has anything like that. The closest thing they have to anything like that is at making you get S rank in missions.
Yeah, Armored Core 6 is just too much of its own thing, really.
It is its own thing, but I love it still.
Oh yeah, yeah. I need to jump back on it. My wife just mentioned today. She's like, "You haven't played any of the games that I bought you." I'm like, "I know. It's just I jump around too much."
You all need to play Kingsfield.
You have it?
I played it when I was a kid, or I watched
You
my
do you
dad.
still have the? Do you still have it for your
No.
PS2?
Well, it's not for PS2, but
Oh, I thought it was.
Yeah, PS1.
Sheesh.
Might. I have a lot of games, man.
Yeah, you got a big box.
I'm trying to find nightmare creatures.
Did you buy it?
No, I'm trying to find it.
Oh.
Oh, like you're going to stores trying to find. I thought you were like right now looking for it.
That's what I thought he meant too.
Here's the. Well. It's
What
still
is
in
that?
plastic.
Oh, Kingsfield.
Yeah,
Oh,
What is the price on that? What did the price on that say?
$15.
Oh, that's not bad at
That's
all.
when I bought it at the time. This one says $18.
I'll buy it.
Is that the second one?
Yeah.
On there.
So you haven't played them?
No, I played the first one. I did take it out of the wrapping. It's one of those envelope wrappings.
You plan on playing the second one?
I
heard they're really rough. They're really rough to play.
I just bought it just to collect it from software. But here's this isn't my complete stack, but this is my partial PS1 stack.
Heck yeah!
I got a whole shelf.
Twisted Metal, Tony Hawk, Rampage, Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah, this was
Those Twisted games are the best. Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh man, I wonder what that PS1 Yu-Gi-Oh game is like.
It's pretty good. It's very loose with its rules, which is why I like it. It kind of reminds me of Queen's Blood a little bit, in a way. Did
you hop on the Queen's Blood hype train? Everybody on Twitter loves that minigame.
Yeah, I actually really do enjoy it.
Heck yeah! You didn't play The Witcher 3, did you?
Yeah, I did. I didn't get into the card game though.
The Gwent.
Game.
Yeah, I didn't really like The Witcher 3, so I didn't try everything that was in it.
I got so into the card game that I downloaded the app that was just the card game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Gwent was really fun. I didn't do all the Gwent battles, but I did a lot of them. Some of them were pretty hard. And I loved playing The Witcher 3 when it came out, but the combat has aged kind of poorly.
Yeah, I never really appreciated it.
I don't know. It's the vastness for me. Like it's.
Yeah, the world is amazing and exploring it's great.
Yeah,
it's a little overwhelming, but like
it does have that Ubisoft kind of map with all the question marks and stuff on it.
Yeah, but
it's one of the few games that really made me want to go to each question mark.
Yeah, because there's always something.
Yeah, the side quests. That's some of the best side quests I've ever seen in a video game.
Was Witcher 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, it had some really good ones.
All right, the next thing I have is actually from Games Radar. The topic headline is Struggling with the Stellar Blade demo? Its developer has a suggestion. Try turning on your TV's game mode.
I saw this one.
The Stellar Blade demo is here, and the action RPG blah 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 blah. All right, we've noticed that the game's clunky feel that hasn't stopped our writer from pummeling the demo's boss 20 different times on account of how cool the combat is. You should have seen how many hours I put into that boss. The Stellar Blade demo had a bumpy road to release as the teaser accidentally went live. Well, we already all know that. Elsewhere, we recently learned that Stellar Blade has a skin suit available in the full game, but the game punishes players thirsty enough to equip it with tougher difficulty settings. We know about that. What the heck?
Suit.
Where'd the rest of this thing go? Oh, okay. So yeah, I guess this also includes another news topic as well. But before I jump onto that, what do you think about having to change the TV's mode to gaming mode? Do you think does that actually make a difference? Because I never heard of that.
Well, my monitor stays in gaming mode all the time, but what? What? Why are you crying, baby? Huh? Oh shit! My cat just gave birth to kittens.
Oh,
Hold on, guys. I'll be right back.
okay.
Yeah. Not many podcasts catch birth.
Oh my goodness, born kittens.
What would you do? You're just sitting there like doing what we're doing right now, and then like your kid comes around with like a bunch of like babies that were not in your house a moment ago.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess we gotta stop.
Where the fuck did all these come from? So yeah, I want to get lizards.
I thought they were rats for a second.
I did too. The tails look just like them.
Yeah. Well,
There's no way.
what's wrong with those rats?
Yeah. maybe did he say cat or did he say kitten?
Kittens.
Okay.
Yeah, they were kittens.
Definitely not rats then.
Oh man, dude, my wife's gonna be pissed.
Why?
Okay, so this cat just randomly showed up like 2 months ago. I let my dog, one of my dogs out, Lucy, and she went around back and she was barking at something in the backyard. And the last time she had done that, she had trapped a possum under the back porch. So I went out there to make sure she wasn't fooling around with the possum again. And as soon as I opened the door, this cat popped its head up and popped up on the porch and just walked right inside the house. And I was just like, what the hell? And we already have one cat, a boy cat, and he's fixed. But he's and so she didn't really want another cat, but the cat would not leave. It would not leave. And I kept putting it back outside, and it kept standing at the windows and at the doors, just meowing nonstop, like, hey, let me in. I was just like, what the fuck? So eventually, we talked about it, and we decided to keep the cat. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but if cats are outside cats, vets will cut notches into their ears so that people in the neighborhoods and communities know that they're fixed.
I just heard about that today, actually.
Yeah,
I just
so
about that right now.
yeah, so this cat has a notch cut into its ear. So I assumed that it was fixed, and because she did not want to, because it was a girl cat, she was on the fence about keeping it because she didn't want more kittens because the cat we have is a boy. But yeah, she's not gonna be happy.
Wow.
Oh shit! And it's funny because right after we decided to keep the cat and was letting it come inside and stuff, it was fucking gorging itself on the cat food. It started to get super fat, and we just thought, it was eating a lot. But,
I was eating for more than one.
How young is the cat?
I have no idea. I mean, she has to be around a year old, maybe a little more. But
Imagine being alive for 1 year and being like, time to give birth.
that's what happened. That's what happened to one of my dogs, Lucy. She gave birth to 9 puppies right around it being a year old. 9. That's right. And every single one of them lived. I was pretty proud of that, keeping them all alive. Oh gosh, dude. I don't even know how many kittens there are in there. My daughter was crying. I don't know. I didn't even really look. My daughter had 2 of them in her hands, and I told her to put them back. Huh?
I'm just gonna let nature take care of itself.
Yeah, I'll go check. I'll go check. I'll go check later when we're done with this.
Make sure she's
What
not
a
pulling the kittens out of the cat.
Yeah. Well, I told her to leave them alone, and because she laid the two kittens, she had her hand on her bed. I was like, I think you should probably put those back, and she was like, Oh yeah. Oh Jesus Christ.
All right.
Oh
Well,
boys. Well, happy Easter.
You
yeah,
can sell the
it's my birthday today.
Oh,
cat.
happy birthday.
The 31st. Well, it just turned the 31st, so
It's now your birthday.
yeah,
How old are you? 30, 31,
32.
32? I'll be 32 in July.
Give you
Oh
my
man, sorry to derail the conversation there. We were talking about the Stellar Blade thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, my monitor is basically always in game mode, but I did kind of notice that I didn't. I mentioned earlier I didn't love how the dodge worked. I feel like the dodge is a little off. But other than that, the only real thing that bothered me with the demo was some of the collisions in the level that I had with the level were really wacky and weird. Like when again, the platforming section with the water. I don't know if you noticed this, by the way, but you can swim in the water and dive underwater.
Right.
I thought that was really cool. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to die when I fell in the water.
Oh, really?
But I guess it's probably because I'd been playing Dragon's Dogma. But yeah, uh, but I kept noticing that when I was on the ledges, and there would be this little, section that sticks up at the end of the ledge. I would expect to bump into that and stop, but every time I bumped into it, she would automatically walk over top of it. I just thought that felt really weird
Well,
and maybe not intentional.
I know when I first started playing it, I was almost turned off because I was just wandering towards the beach where where it meets the water, and all of a sudden it resets me back. I'm like, oh no, it's one of those games where it counts down. I had all the heads as much as the heads up display that I had disabled because I just wanted to see how immersed I could be with the level design, and it must have had a countdown with the heads up display because it just the screen kind of had a red border around it, and then like next thing I know it resets me back. And I hope that's not a common thing in the game, but I understand the first part of the game is very cinematic, so it's just very
That was.
strict. But I really hope that's not a common thing throughout. Did you see the exploding
Hopefully
enemy
not.
when you get more freedom? When the level opens up, there's a bench. It's not the rest. It's not the official resting
Are you
area, but it's
talking
just a
about the
random
second
bench.
part of the demo or the first part?
Well, I mean, this is after that moment where that huge boss with the ball hands and what something happens to your partner, and then you're on your own.
Yeah. And then is it before or after that cutscene?
Is after.
Okay.
Yeah, because you got to put in that
I think
code.
I saw it.
I think you got to put
I
in a
think I did
password.
see that.
Yeah, you got
Yeah,
that random
I think I
bench.
did that.
You just rest
Yeah.
there, and then there's if you
You're
continue on.
both talking at the same time. That was weird. I was like looking down. I just hear both your voices go, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. Like simultaneously, like pausing and then going on.
I think I did see that. You know what I mean?
I'm looking up Stellar Blade now.
But I like how some of the enemies are statues, and if you break them, I mean, we've seen that
Yeah.
before. It wasn't God of War Ragnarok, but
It was in God of War. Yep.
um, but I always like stuff like that. I mean, you had stuff like in Dark Souls 2 where you had enemies laying on the ground. You couldn't. I don't think you could even kill them until they actually got up. I believe in Dark Souls 2. For the other games, you can kill them before they get up, actually. But for some reason,
I'm
Dark Souls.
pretty sure
I think
in
I don't know. I don't
the
want to say that's. You might be able to kill them. I
what's the
just.
DLC with the Fume Knight,
Oh,
Old Iron
yeah,
King?
old Iron King.
Those enemies that hide in the ash, I'm pretty sure you can attack them before they get up. I might be wrong, but I think I remember you can.
But before the conversation becomes From Software again.
Yeah.
So I like to play on old TVs, and when this
Right.
came up, I'm like, Dang, is this actually going to be a good reason for me to want to play on newer TVs so I don't have to run into some clunkiness or something that's not going to register properly? I mean, I played it on this old Vizio and I was able to do everything just fine. I mean, I did feel some slight clunkiness, but I was able to just adapt to it.
Both of y'all's videos just went out for me.
Oh,
Is it a a horror game?
no.
No,
I wouldn't
it's
say
kind
that.
of like it surprised me. One of the bullet points I had written down was your camera just popped back up for me, Zach, but yours has not yet, Alex. No, you're back now. That must have been my internet. Did I freeze or go out at all?
No.
That's interesting. One of the bullet points I had written down was that I was surprised with just how Souls like it felt when
Hmm.
I don't know if you felt that,
Well,
but I was
it's,
not expecting it.
definitely, I mean, yeah, definitely Souls like, but then once I got to the boss, I realized how Sekiro like it was.
Yes,
Because at first, I was going to do no parry. And then after a while, I'm like, wait a
Harry's
minute.
just too good.
Yeah, after a while, I was like, wait a minute. This is definitely deflect based, and I don't want to ruin it for myself like I did for Sekiro for 2 years. So that's when I
Right.
dropped that restriction and then started deflecting the attacks.
Did you play Sekiro without parrying?
Yeah, for the majority of it, up until Sword Saint.
Sounds god awful.
It
Yeah,
took
it does. That does not sound fun.
it took a very long time. Those videos are still on the group, the Solo for Life
I,
group. If you look up
I,
Sekiro from videos from
Was that
me,
fun? Was doing that fun?
it was okay, but deflecting obviously
But
was
you weren't loving the game until you decided to finally
correct.
give in to parrying. Yeah.
Correct. Yes. I thought the game was okay when I was just playing it like Dark Souls, and then honestly, I got to Sword Saint. I even defeated Demon of Hatred without parrying. I mean, I know he's
That's
designed,
crazy.
you know,
I was gonna say I think he's designed to fight without parrying.
yeah, and that was my favorite fight.
But
It ended up being my favorite fight at the
what
time.
about the Guardian Ape? That one was also kind of designed without parrying, at least in the
That
first
was actually
phase.
my favorite fight. One of my favorite fights to do without deflecting. Like I said,
Yeah.
it's on. I'll have to send you guys the link, and so you can
Yeah,
guys.
that'd be
But it
cool.
takes a long time. I
Yeah, but your combat value time was probably pretty poor.
Oh well, it was overextended. It was just you
Yeah.
saw the same attacks too many times. But I'll try to send you guys a link but the Guardian Ape was definitely one of my favorite fights without deflecting, and then I eventually did deflect it. And actually,
I'll
the
be
fight was
really
in the.
interested to see. Huh?
Oh yeah, I mean there were very interesting methods on getting through without having because that was back when I didn't have too many restrictions because I did take damage. All those fights are not no damage. I think I had like a 3 hit limit. If I got hit more than 3 times, then I started over. But of course, that's not the case now anymore. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I would be really interested to see how you did Lady Butterfly and Alf and the owl
Alf.
fights.
Yeah,
Yeah, Alf.
I'll send you guys all those links
Because I
because
couldn't imagine doing Owl or Lady Butterfly without parrying.
I mean, this was on the PS4.
And
It only records 15 minutes. That was the max on the PS4. So those fights extended over 15 minutes. Some of them did.
yeah, I bet.
Thankfully, the PS5 records up to an hour.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
I don't know how to fix my PS4.
What's wrong with it?
What's wrong with it?
It will disconnect from the internet for precisely 1 second. And it happens
Huh.
within like 3 hour intervals. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, just completely unpredictable.
Is it
But I'll
connected?
be playing. Huh?
Is it connected by wire or Wi-Fi?
Well, I've tried both. Um, and that's what I don't get because nothing else in my house goes out. You know what I
Have you
mean?
cleaned it?
Yeah, I just bought aerosol cans and I cleaned it out, and I'm even contemplating drilling holes right where the CPU is. No, like
Don't do that.
in the lid, not the actual thing. Like just to open up airflow inside the entire thing, not to go into any machinery, just the top part you take off
I
drill
see.
some holes in it, and put it back on.
I see.
Sounds like a Jeffrey Dahmer method.
It sounds very. It sounds very scary to me, honestly.
I'm not gonna fuck it after though.
Next, I was going to say just try sleeping with the PS4, but
Yeah,
Take it to
it'll
dinner first.
yeah, it'll be really warm. I know that much. The thing's a jet engine. That's why I thought about drilling it. But
take it to a fancy restaurant and set it in
yeah,
the seat.
Treat it to a drink
why
and a
does the
smoke first.
PS4
Table
have
for
work?
two, please.
Is
And just have a
The only
conversation with.
that's what
it
we just
the
like.
is it the
The
base
only
model or is it
waifu
the
I
pro?
want. This is my waifu.
Is it the base model or the pro?
It's the pro.
Okay,
So that's why I just don't get it. Like at first I thought it was like a Sony thing. We're like, all right,
right.
PS5's out. Let's get people to stop playing it by randomly switching off the internet.
Be on some Apple shit.
Yeah, it's like I'll be playing a game online, and then all of a sudden it'll just stop for 1 second, and that's 1 second too long, apparently, because
Well,
it'll kick me
That
out.
is really
well,
weird.
how
Have
often
you
does it
Googled the
happen?
problem?
Like I said, like 3 hours. Like it's really arithmetic. 3 hours, it could be anywhere between like 3 hours or sometimes 20 minutes. Like
Have you Googled the problem?
yeah, no one has an answer.
Hmm.
Now, when you're watching movies, well, when you're streaming movies, do you ever notice the quality dipping for a moment?
So like it'll tell me the internet has lost its disc or lost its connection, but because the movie buffered out long enough and it only drops for a second, nothing happens. So movies
Hmm.
are fine. When I try to watch Crunchyroll, though, because I was trying to watch Jujutsu Kaisen, um, there'd be moments where it would like for like a straight 5 minutes straight would keep dropping, almost exiting out, then coming back in. And I'm just like, it's exhausting because I brought my PS4 back out to the living room. I put my Xbox in my room because I could just play Xbox games on my computer. So if I want to play the Xbox out in the living room, I have it right here. So I moved the PS4 out here and tried it because I wanted to get back into it more, like Weird West, and I was trying Elden Souls. That game's just is
Isn't it a
just as
boss
hard
rush
as I
game?
remembered. Huh?
Isn't it a boss rush game?
Yeah, and it's not easy. Like you level up and you can all the bosses that you beat, you get their soul and you can equip it to your dash, your parry, your charged attack, or as its own separate spell. And then there's like four things that I haven't unlocked yet that I could also put them there, but I don't know what they're for yet because I'm not that far.
Yeah.
But it's so cool because you could be like, okay, well I'm gonna have this leech ability on my charged attack. So when I do my strike, I'll heal from the attack. But then I can dodge, and if I dodge through an attack, I'll have like my. There's another one that's like fire and water, and if I'm above 50% health, I lose health, but I now have a damage multiplier on, and if I'm below 50% health, I gain health, and that's that trade off. And it's cool. It's a different game, and it doesn't really take much. Anyways, that's not what I was talking about. I was just saying like I don't understand what possible like and maybe it's the wiring inside the or yeah, I don't know. I'm not tech savvy, so
Have,
like
have, have you ran a test on
yeah,
the
I
internet?
troubleshoot and I've done a lot of things. I've updated the system. I've um, done it all but format it, but I haven't seen anything that says formatting would be, an answer.
Well, maybe you can run
But
an overall diagnostic check with your phone. Have it just analyze the internet and see if it dips, and maybe it's
oh
not just your PS4.
no, like I'll be literally playing like an online game on the computer, and then it'll say my PS4 just disconnected from the internet, but nothing happens on the computer whatsoever.
Oh, hmm.
Yeah, and like I could I could turn off everything and have only the PS4 running the internet, and that doesn't work either. And like I said, I will have my Xbox playing, never have an issue with it, or my PC, or my phone, or anything, but a PS4. So it just doesn't make sense.
I wonder if
It's a
That is
wonder if
interesting.
changing the NAT type might prevent that.
I, that's another thing that I'm not like too keen on as far as my ability of understanding.
Have you tried looking up this problem specifically, like on
Yeah,
Reddit?
I don't get answers on Reddit.
Hmm.
Oh, well, one guy did say he had similar problems, but no one had the answer for it.
Have you tried contacting Sony themselves?
Yeah, that doesn't do anything. It's just a computer, and
Yeah,
this is an what do you call it? An uncommon problem.
for sure.
So the computer doesn't know how to deal with it because it's more specific, and it hasn't been reported before. But I have been reporting it about over 1,000 times on my PS4 the past year. Because it'll kick me out of a game, or it'll just stop the game, and it'll say CE dash numbers.
It gives you an
Like
error code.
Yeah, that's interesting. It gives you an error code.
4 numbers. Sometimes it doesn't happen all the time.
Well, whenever it does, make sure you take a picture of it and look it up.
Yeah, no, I did look it up a couple times. It just says lost internet connection. And it's like,
No.
okay, why?
Hmm.
Answer me why.
And it does this over wired connection and Wi-Fi. That is very interesting. You
Yeah,
could maybe, yeah, there might be some sort of component inside that's just dying.
yeah, that's
How old is it? Huh?
I don't know.
Oh, you got it used from someone?
Yeah, I bought it off some guy who was stationed over at Fairbanks.
Oh, okay.
He's like,
Yeah.
I just got a PC and I had no use for this. I was like, well, thank you.
What year did the PS4 Pros come out, Zach? Do you remember?
No. I don't
Well, they
know. Did I get
manufactured
one?
four
Yeah,
years
my wife
ago.
got one. PS4 Pro. I'll just look it up real quick. Let's see. Year. Dang it didn't pull up the year. Year.
Like 2016,
Yeah,
2017?
2016. You got it.
So
Someone
it's
told me,
at the oldest, it could be 8 years old.
Yeah, it could just simply be failing.
Which is kind of disheartening to hear.
yeah,
Well, continue on Stellar Blade. Photo
Yeah.
mode is actually not going to be a feature for a little while. They'll add it eventually, but isn't that quite a shame how photo mode is delayed? Because that's when you want to take the most photos is during your first playthrough. I love doing that for Elden Ring doesn't have photo mode, but during my first
No.
blind playthrough, I love taking shots of my character and
Yeah,
remembering
me too.
that first playthrough. And you can
Yep.
still take photos with the PS5, and it's a little bit more
It's not the
complicated
same.
with the PC. I think you might be able to press F3 or something, but it's kind of unfortunate especially if you just want to get some really stylized little angles of your character somewhere, and you can change the filters, and it'll make that moment a little bit more memorable.
I'm
And
surprised and I'm not surprised at the same time that they're not going to have the photo mode at launch.
yeah, this happened. I think what other game didn't have photo mode at release? It wasn't Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because they had that
Oh,
immediately.
man, I know. I heard. I think I know what you're talking about.
Ghost of Tsushima had it at release. I'm sure because I was taking. Well, I don't know. I didn't get Ghost of Tsushima immediately. Dang it. God of War Ragnarok. That was it.
Yeah, it was. It sure was. Dragon's Dogma 2 has a photo mode. That's where I used to screenshot that picture I sent y'all.
I wonder what the slowdown is on that. Wonder why it is delayed, the photo mode. I wonder what it is
That is
specifically.
interesting. I do wonder why. Maybe they're worried that people will waste too much time taking screenshots of the character model instead of playing the game.
I don't know. It is a weird one. I don't think it's been explained anywhere. I don't think that would be the reason. I mean, people just I don't. It's not like create a character mode where you might spend an hour creating a character. You just most people won't put a whole lot of time dedicating and putting filters and getting the right angle on the character. They'll just take a little little screenshot of it and then post it somewhere.
Yeah,
So
I
I don't.
never usually fool with the filters.
I love Demon Souls photo mode. I remember I was against it at the
Not a good
time,
one.
but it's really good. Um, I like how they disable it. No, you can't. You can still use photo mode when someone invades you, but um, it doesn't freeze it. But when you're all offline and you use it, you can use it as a
As a
pause.
pause. Yep,
And I used
I've
to be
done that.
against that, but now I'm like, oh yeah, it's rather useful.
I've done that. I like how I think Armored Core you can pause too.
Yeah, well, can you?
I'm trying to remember.
I know you can pause Sekiro. You can't pause
Yeah,
Elden Ring.
no.
I don't think. No, you can't.
Well, you kind of can. You have to if you hit the PlayStation button and go back to the PlayStation home screen, it kind of puts the game in a you know pause like state.
Right. I know you definitely can't pause it during a boss fight, or at least quit in Sekiro. I think. No, I'm sorry. It's
You
been a
can
while since.
pause it in a boss
Yeah,
fight in
you're
Sekiro.
right. You're right. You just can't. There was something. Never mind. It's been a while. But yeah, I
Yeah,
just
because
want to.
I utilized the pause in boss fights several times. Like I would be just getting my ass handed to me, and I'd be making mistakes, so I'd just pause it and be like, okay, I need to take a breath and relax for a second.
So we'll move on. Here's a very interesting topic, and I don't like this journalist, this gaming journalist either. But I thought it would be a fun little topic to bring up. So it's been
IGN.
no, it's not IGN. I already dogged them. It's Kotaku.
Oh
Kotaku.
gosh, they're even worse.
Yeah. So someone from Kotaku claims that it is impossible to platinum Final Fantasy VII Rebirth without a physical copy.
I saw that headline too. I didn't read the story, but I saw the headline and I was like, wow, that's weird.
So it says here,
They changed
players
it.
players seemingly cannot platinum the game on the current patch, forcing any trophy hunters to revert to a previous update. However, it's not possible to go back to a previous build with digital copies of the game, meaning that the current fix only works for those who have the game on disc. This bug was spotted by Kotaku and affects the side quests won't stop. Ever since the latest patch, the game has been incorrectly calculating the player's score, making it impossible to get the amount of points you need to beat the mission. Since this means you're leaving part of the game incomplete, it locks you out of getting every single trophy and therefore stops you from getting all of the important platinum trophy. The writer who encountered the bug has also shared a fix, but it's only possible if you have a physical copy of the game. If you do, you can uninstall and reinstall from the disk while your PlayStation 5 is disconnected from the internet. This will put you on the launch day build of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, making it possible to beat Can't Stop Won't Stop. If you bought the game digitally, then you'll need to have your PS5 connected to the internet to download the game in the first place. So this fix won't work. Instead, you'll probably be left waiting until Square Enix rolls out another patch, or perhaps a hotfix that just addresses this bug since so many players have reported it since the last update. At the time of this writing, PSN Profile shows that just 0.2% of players have unlocked a platinum trophy. Unsurprisingly, the forums show players warning each other not to install the latest patch, so this is clearly a widespread issue. So that's definitely a interesting
Yeah,
problem going
they
on,
need to
and
fix that.
and it's like it's kind of another up on hey physical copies.
Yeah,
Wink,
they
wink.
really need to fix that because that's kind of an egregious bug.
I get as many trophies as I can in the game, and then when I'm like done with it, like I'm done with it. Like
Yeah,
the trophies have to be like something worth getting. And I know I keep bringing Cuphead up, but I just feel like it's the prime example of how trophies should work, where every trophy is a different challenge in itself. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? I do believe you should be more rewarded for doing the trophies. I feel like it's more fun that way. But
Yeah,
nonetheless,
I don't like
I
trophies that waste my time and use RNG. And this is one of the reasons why I don't go for platinums anymore, is because some trophies are just going to be bugged and I'm going to end up wasting my time, especially if I'm not well connected with the community. Hearing stuff like that, I'm like, why in the world is this not working? Oh, it turns out it's a bug. Oh, well, I wasted 24 hours of my life doing something that's not even going to work.
see,
Yeah, a game has to truly be special for me to care enough to try and get the platinum.
see Dark Souls, like how you guys got the platinum for those and everything like that. That's just so like mind numbing to me because like
I don't have the platinum for Dark Souls 1, 2, or 3, and it's because of the Covenant trophies. Like
but it's not
you
even
have
the covenant.
the
Get every weapon. Get
yeah,
every.
no, I can't.
Get every like that's
And
just
it would have been different if I had started playing the game at launch, but because when I started playing the game, the community had died down so much that getting those multiplayer Covenant items was really just going to be a chore and just take a ridiculous amount of time. It wasn't worth it. The only From Software games I've platinum right now are Elden Ring and Bloodborne, but that Sekiro platinum will come. It will come.
see. I just don't like anything that's like like the game is famous for having a multitude of weapons. So when you say that I have to find all of them, like if and it doesn't
Every
just
spell, every gesture, every
yeah,
ring.
the gesture one really is kind of what just made it all like okay, I like kind of backpedaling what I just said. I understand the weapon one and the amulet one. You know what I mean? Like the one where it says get all the legendary talismans or whatever that was in Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Fine. But when you're like, yeah, get all the gestures, get all the like it's a collectathon. You're just playing a collectathon now and like there's no reward for the collectathon like it would be in like Mario or
And in Elden Ring, once you get past a certain point in the story, you actually, if you haven't picked up some of the legendary items, you lock yourself out of getting it, and you have to do it in New Game Plus.
yeah, and so now you're and me personally like oh, that's the first time I hit that and that tastes crazy. Um um no I'm sorry. That was unexpected. The what was I saying? Oh, like nope, lost it. Elden Ring
Talking
gesture.
about the gestures and the other stuff, and
Well, I don't know. I just don't. I don't. I when I decide that I'm going to platinum trophy a game, which has been so very few. Um.
I only have 3.
Okay, so have you guys ever heard of Shenmue?
Yeah,
Came out on the Dreamcast.
heard it's
Super.
not a good game.
It, it, I love it.
I
And
heard it's
I
like
didn't
either
play
you
it
either
as
love it
a
or
kid.
hate it type thing.
I didn't play it as a kid. I literally played it like a year and a half ago. I was
Yeah,
still talking. I'm pretty sure I told you guys that I just got
I
this
think I remember you mentioning it.
trophy, platinum trophy. I'm like thinking to myself, like, you want to know what the last trophy was that I had to get? I had to restart the game. It takes you 20 minutes to, if you know exactly what you're doing, it'd take you 20 minutes to beat the game. But, um, but I enjoy like all the side stuff that they got. Like they got like mini games everywhere and stuff like that. It's fun. And then Shenmue transversed into Yakuza, and they.
Yeah,
But anyways, the last trophy that I had was that I had to make sure, and this was a random occurrence, so I had to keep restarting it. And this is what made this 20-minute game platinum trophy just daunting and just so mind numbing. Because I had to keep restarting it for a random occurrence of a kitten to be in a box. And that was it. Like, you know what I mean? Just to find it had to be on a day that the game didn't generate a rainy day. And it had to be before the mission that would happen the next day. So I had to keep resetting it until it generated a day that was just normal. Oh no, wait, no, it had to be a rainy day. My bad. And I'm just like, I'm like thinking to myself, I'm
that
like,
sounds like a nightmare.
it took me maybe 20 minutes to do. But I mean, it's just the fact that like it was so easy to get all the trophies. I was like, why not? I'll have another platinum trophy, right? Easy to get. It was easy to get. But when I finally like in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna go for that platinum trophy. You know what I mean? The game all
Yeah.
of a sudden becomes such a chore. And now it is no longer me being entertained. It is me, you know, working.
Right.
Does that make sense? I know I just
It
went
does. It
a
makes
very
complete sense.
long-winded explanation of it, but I just found like even
It
this
makes total sense.
that was not difficult at all was still hard to platinum because it just requires that level of like persistence, I guess. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, but I actually loved collecting all the weapons and spells and the gestures. I when I was doing it for Dark Souls, I wrote down every single weapon I needed, every single spell I needed, and I had to look it up. I believe I used half the guide and probably some of the internet. And every time I would get one, I would just cross it out. And eventually, once it was finally done, got a platinum. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a blast. I guess maybe I just really love collectathons because I did the same thing with Bully. Bully had a lot of things to collect, but just remembering myself scratching off the names for each weapon and each spell, and you also got to see a different part of the game that you never seen before, and that's why I think it's
Yeah.
very special.
I think they have Bully on Xbox, or is it
Yeah,
PlayStation?
they got a scholarship edition that includes additional classes and missions.
I love doing the classes in Bully.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, I really enjoyed like obviously the things that you unlocked, but like the classes themselves were actually kind of entertaining.
Yeah, that's why I liked Hogwarts Legacy because it reminded me of that. But it wasn't as strict because you don't have a clock. Because in Bully you had to get to class on time,
Right.
and on the Hogwarts Legacy it's like, oh, you can go to class anytime you want to. There's no consequences, and I just hated that. I wish it had a time system because if you miss a class, then there's a consequence. If you if you miss class, I think you had to mow the lawn, or maybe that's when you punch a teacher. But I love that lawnmower mini game. It has that really cool theme that's special just for the lawnmower mini game.
My favorite one was the Halloween pranks. That part of the game where it was Halloween and you had to like pull pranks the whole night.
Mm-hmm.
That shit. God, that game was so fun.
Yeah, and then that only pops up when around October 31st, or in October in general. You can't access it anytime you want to. Same thing with the Christmas missions.
Yeah,
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah, no, they're a lot of fun. I miss playing Bully, honestly.
Oh man, if I would love for them to update it or make a sequel, I would love it so much. But
Watch them have like a bully mini game in GTA 6.
Or something. All of a sudden, John Marston comes out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
apparently they got really close to finishing Bully 2 from what I understand, unless that's just a rumor and it's not true. I just hate hearing stuff like that where they say, "Oh yeah, we're done with the game. We just didn't want to release it."
Yeah, I'd be like,
Yeah,
oh,
that's silly.
It's,
get in your mouth.
it's like with Twisted Metal Black Harbor City. They're like, "Yeah, we just didn't want to release it. It was almost done."
Very silly.
Looking up why they didn't release it.
And like, my goodness, this is one of the best Twisted Metal games getting a sequel, and you're like, "Oh, just didn't want to finish it. Didn't feel like it."
You want to hear
Well,
something really fun?
apparently they had a one of the live service games they had down the pipe was a new Twisted Metal game, and they canceled that shit.
Yeah, what is going on with that? I wonder if they just see some of the stories and are like, oh, that's too inappropriate, can't do that. They actually had to censor a lot of Twist Metal Black's cutscenes. Like, it's available on YouTube. You can watch it where the preacher is actually shoving the baby in the baptism cauldron, and they cut that out of
Well,
the official release because it was just too violent towards a baby.
yeah, it makes sense.
So,
There's a trailer for Bully 2 that just came out.
huh? I haven't heard
It
anything about this. Are you sure it's not
leaked.
fake?
It says leaked. So
Leaked.
take it with a grain of salt, but like it looks very official.
Dang, Rockstar Games still has a trailer for the first Bully 17 years ago. I mean, it feels like they're always releasing leaks for Bully 2 on YouTube.
Yeah, no, I did look at that. I clicked through a couple of them, but this one, like, it looks like the graphics are very GTA, but like very bully. You know what I mean? I don't know. It could just be things from GTA 6. Maybe like, what Blake said. Maybe it's just references of bully being into GTA 6, but it could very well be it. However, that video I was just watching, that looked very real. It looked very cool.
Well, hopefully it is real.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
speaking of gaming news, I had read the other day that GTA 6 might get delayed to 2026.
Yeah, literally, that was just in that video that I watched too. They said that with GTA 6 being delayed, more leaks have been coming out. So I don't know, man.
And they just made all their people, all their devs, stop working remotely and have to work so many hours in the office now because they're trying to prevent leaks.
Could you imagine working at Rockstar? It sounds like a nightmare.
Honestly, working for just about any game development company sounds like a nightmare.
Sure, I mean, yeah, like it definitely steals the love out of that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to go make this.
I mean, some of the smaller studios, like the studio that made Helldivers, they seem to have a real love and passion for developing games, and then they seem to have a really interesting type of work environment based on how they communicate with the community.
Seen NetherRealms seems to really enjoy their time making games.
I wonder how From Software devs feel. I wonder if they feel, they're happy working at From Software. Or if Miyazaki's like a dictator.
Yeah, I'm sure FromSoft is probably that way too. But I mean, like, if you think about it, though, they take years to make a game. So it does, like, they're not pushing these games out. You know what I mean? Like, they are taking their time. I mean, they come out fucking shitty. So, right at the start, usually all the time. But
I wonder if they have a restaurant they go to every time they release a game. All right, time to celebrate the release of Elden Ring, or we're going to go back to DJ's Central to eat.
Oh, shit,
when you really think about it,
I was thinking
what
about
was you saying?
Sorry,
Bethesda.
Probably, Bethesda, I feel like they're not pushed so drastically hard. You know what I mean? Because all their games come out at such long periods of time. FromSoft, I don't know, man. I feel like FromSoft wouldn't be like it. I feel like it would be insanely laid back. There's like a lot of like, I don't know, looks like love put into all the.
They actually, if you really look at it, they have a pretty consistent release schedule. I mean, Demon Souls came out in 2009?
Yep.
And then Dark Souls came out in 2012?
2011.
2011? Okay, so that's 2 years. And then Dark Souls 2 came out in 2014 or 13?
I think 13.
So that's another 2 years. And then Bloodborne came out in 2015. It's another 2 years. And then Dark Souls 3 came out in 2016. That's just 1 year.
Yes,
and then
2 years after.
And then you have Sekiro that came out in 2019, I believe, right?
Yep.
So there's 3 years. And then Elden Ring in 2022, that's another 3 years. And then Armored Core in 2023, so that's just a year. So they've actually had a really solid release cadence. I mean, and then we're going to get this massive expansion. It's going to be the biggest expansion they've ever done in Shadow of the Erdtree. 2 years after the release of Elden Ring, 1 year after the release of Armored Core. So realistically, we could maybe expect to see their next game in the next 2 years or maybe less.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what the explanation is for Rockstar Bethesda taking so long. I mean, maybe they just creatively just flushed out. Possibly, maybe they don't have enough creative people on their team, and they're just constantly arguing with each other.
Well, besides Sekiro and Armored Core, FromSoft's games basically follow the same mechanics and formula.
He was saying Bethesda though.
I mean, yeah, huh? What'd you say?
Oh, I was just
Oh,
saying Rockstar and Bethesda, I think they're creatively flushed out, but I mean, From Software, they're always
Oh,
adding different ambitions to their game. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
they're generally they have the same kind of idea, but that's what's making them successful. They don't want to, go too far off of that. Of course, with Armored Core 6, they're going to make it like Armored Core with some, they're going to sprinkle some of their Dark Souls magic into it. If let's just say they make another game, that's combat heavy, like that people are going to be expecting, oh great, another Dark Souls, Elden Ring, or whatever, but then it's like it plays like Final Fantasy VII, and it's going to turn people off because
imagine a FromSoft game that's turn-based.
ugh.
I think like a little tiny game like that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I would definitely
I
try a
mean, I
tiny
would,
game.
I would look at it. I would
I
take a
would
look
buy
at
the
it, but
PS1. Is it? It's called a D-Make. Yeah, I'd play the PS1 Bloodborne D-Make for sure.
I would play that if I had a PC. I would play that.
I guess I have a PC, don't I?
Yeah,
Yeah, I should definitely try it. Where did I?
I think that it goes as far as Gascoigne, and then that's it. So
No,
you can fight.
it goes further, and there's a couple
Oh,
bosses that aren't in Bloodborne that are in it as well.
I'm
That
pretty sure you can fight Cleric Beast, and then of course Gascoigne.
Yeah, you got Cleric Beast, Gascoigne, and then, or maybe they're before Gascoigne. I'm not sure, but there was a couple bosses. One looked like a Silent Hill boss, but very Bloodborne aesthetic looking. Um, Definitely very PS1 boss looking. Just some like whacked out idea thrown onto a sheet of paper and like, here's the boss. That looks cool. That's what I miss about PS1 games and PS2 games is that they have like these so like just massively obscure bosses.
We got a
Oh,
Moving on to the next gaming news topic that I have. And I thought it was a weird criticism because I kind of disagree with it in a way, but I want to see what you guys think. So, all right, Elden Ring. This comes from Game Rant. Shadow of the Erdtree is the perfect chance to polish From Software's most lackluster mechanic. So let me just go ahead and scroll down to where they actually talk about it. Alright, so if Shadow of the Erdtree is adding new features and broadening gameplay options, then there's one aspect of Elden Ring's base game that it should hone in on: stealth. Stealth, despite being presented as a viable gameplay approach in most From Software games, has always felt like the studio's weak spot. For most players, this isn't a huge issue, as the main draw of From Software's seminal combat design is the back and forth between the player and enemy NPCs. But if stealth is going to be included in these games, then it ought to be effective, deep, and most importantly, fun. Elden Ring places a come on, it jumped on me. Elden Ring places a higher emphasis on stealth than previous From Software Souls titles, but the mechanic has always been there in some form. Heck, it's even in Demon Souls, stealth options are handed to the player in the form of invisibility spells and the gear that reduces movement sounds. Dark Souls fleshes things out slightly with additions like Chameleon Spell, but stealth can often feel like an afterthought in the Souls series. It's clearly not a viable option for the entire playthrough, and mostly serves as a method to avoid certain enemies or making backstabbing which alerts nearby enemies easier. From Software doubled down on stealth with the radically different gameplay of Sekiro, which introduced sneaky staples like crouching, hiding in tall grass, air assassinations, and all manner of ninja tools and abilities to aid in player subterfuge. Many of these elements would be carried into Elden Ring, albeit to lesser extent. The issue is that stealth often isn't a solid alternative to classic Souls-like melee combat, and is generally most effective as a method to thin out enemy crowds before an encounter. Moreover, stealth isn't nearly as enjoyable as the more fleshed out, fully realized combat system of a game like Sekiro or Elden Ring. It seems like From Software wants players to experiment with different character builds in Elden Ring, and the existence of the bandit starting class, much like Thief class from Dark Souls, implies that a stealth-focused playstyle is more viable than it really is. Shadow of the Erdtree could lean into this implicit promise, letting players leverage stealth in all situations instead of only when certain opportunities arise. The DLC will be focusing heavily on Mikola and his connection to Saint Trina, which could mean extra sleep spells, which could translate to more flexible and expressive stealth gameplay. It's hard to know exactly what this would look like, but rewarding players who get creative and invest in a stealth build would go a long way toward making the mechanic feel more complete and satisfying. At the end of the day, some From Software combat isn't built around stealth, and that's okay. However, it seems like the studio wants players to feel like stealth is a playstyle on par with Elden Ring's melee or magic builds via options like the Bandit and its predecessor, the Thief, and it usually isn't. Shadow of the Erdtree can hopefully will take steps to change that. See, I don't really understand what they're talking about, because I was able to apply stealth pretty well myself.
Yeah, obviously it's not going to do stealth as well as Sekiro. I mean, obviously, but
Right.
I thought that it was a major step up from other Souls games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the crouch was a big part of it, and there's a talisman that you can wear that when you are crouched and you're kind of far enough away from an enemy, you're basically invisible.
Right.
And I'm not sure if they have like the chameleon type spells that he mentioned. I'm not sure if those are in Elden Ring or not. I want to say they're not. But then he did mention the sleep stuff, which is another thing that adds to stealth. I think there's plenty of stealth
plenty
in the
of
game.
viable. I mean, you don't even have to use stuff like sleep. There's a very early duo boss that doesn't get talked about enough, which I'm surprised. I think these little demigod things. I believe they're small little
exactly what
dog
you're talking
looking.
about. Yeah.
I believe it's a cave next to the ocean in Limgrave.
Yeah, it is.
And they're sleeping when you walk in.
Yep.
And you have to enter I believe I need to go back and study a little bit more, because sometimes when you enter it they wake up, but
yeah,
when you enter,
I think after you fight them the first time, they stay awake.
no, they go back to sleep, because this is one of those boss fights that I refined until I did it without taking damage. But this is the only boss fight I did that was 100% stealth for those guys. I mean, of course, you have other enemies that are up and around, but I was able to sneak in, do a heavy enough R2 charge attack to where he would stagger, and then I would basically get a good hit on him and then hit him again. But I was also quiet enough to keep the other ones still asleep, and I basically did the same thing. I was actually able to get away from those other little tiny dudes and get an R2 charge, get a stagger, get a riposte, and then basically defeat the fight that way. I mean, you kind of have to be overpowered in a way, but still you could apply stealth without having to use sleep and all that stuff. And that was one of the most fascinating parts of Elden Ring, where I was like, I can't believe they made a boss fight like this. And so
yeah.
you also have the ability to sneak up on enemies and do a backstab, and you can just study the behavior and line it up well. I mean, of course, the game is not going to be 100% stealth. It just isn't designed that way, but you get plenty of tools to do you can do a good chunk of it stealth. I mean, yes, Sekiro was designed a very specific way, so a lot of it could be accomplished in a stealth. I mean, but it can't be accomplished 100% stealth-wise, because think about Chain Ogre, for example. You can get the first hit on him performing stealth, but he's also got a second life bar, so stealth is out. Is totally out. It's knocked out once you get that first one knocked out.
That's why I really like the 2 health bar system or more for the Sekiro bosses. Like, you can do the assassination thing, but then you still have to at least fight him one more time.
Yes.
And I was like,
it was very clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. See, the one complaint, maybe not even a complaint, but the one thing that I think maybe they could tweak a little bit better with the stealth in Elden Ring is when you're hiding in the tall grass, because I feel like when they were marketing the game, and they did put a little bit of an emphasis on stealth being more of an option when they were marketing the game, they made it sound like, to me at least, that hiding in the tall grass was going to be much better than it actually is, because once an enemy sees you, you can't hide from them. You can't crouch down in the tall grass. Maybe if you could hide in the tall grass and then they kind of lose sight of you again, maybe that would fix what he's talking about a little bit more. Maybe, I don't know, but that might also be a little too overpowered.
That was definitely a thing in Sekiro. You can grab an enemy's attention, but if you got in the grass in a very, if you got away fast enough and got hidden in the grass, the enemies will definitely lose your attention. That's what it did with the Chain Ogre. When I was just playing around with him, you can grab his attention, and then you could hide in the grass, and you could achieve the removing the the stealth opportunity strike,
Death Strike or whatever it is called.
something like that. Yeah, like as how it's called in Stellar Blade, what Retribution or something like that.
Yeah,
I was actually part of the challenge. I was actually not going to do Retribution, but I was like, man, I love doing it too much.
they're satisfying.
Yeah, it's too satisfying to leave out.
But do you think that in Elden Ring, having that mechanic where you get an enemy's attention and then you just walk a little bit away and crouch in the tall grass and they lose you? You think that would be too broken?
No, I mean I think it's fine. I mean it works just fine in Sekiro.
Yeah,
So I don't know why it wouldn't. And I like
yeah.
how they brought back the alert enemies in Elden Ring from Sekiro. You had those
Oh,
dudes that
with
would
the
just
horns.
bang the gong.
Yeah.
And that in Elden Ring, there's been a lot of shorts on YouTube where people grab the audio clip from Shrek where the dude's going all out on the horn and then the dude smacks him upside the head with a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So people have been approaching ways to kill the horn dudes and
That's pretty
apply that
funny.
audio clip. So people have done a pretty good job with it. I would love to apply my own version to it sometime. But yeah, I do like.
That sounds
I
fun.
mean, yeah, there are things they could do to improve stealth, but it's definitely in the game.
I don't think it's
I feel like it's
necessary.
definitely what is
I don't think it's necessary.
to improve it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good the way it is. I mean, but like hiding
I
back in the
never.
grass and they could do stuff like that.
I mean, I did use it for like certain areas, but like most of the time, like dungeons and all that, I don't think I hardly ever used stealth.
Well,
Like, and
I don't know if you guys caught this in the DLC trailer, but it looks like there's going to be a sleep swamp.
Hmm.
So that'll be pretty interesting.
Or you fall asleep in the shallow water and you can drown.
Or just you'll fall asleep and the enemies around you will have free shots.
They just
you know,
stab you in the back with a dagger.
being a
That'd be funny if they
right?
have a really old creature just sneaks up on you while you're asleep and just
Yeah.
slowly stabs you with a dagger, and your health bar slowly drags down.
I am super excited to see where they take this DLC. I'm hoping it really lives up.
Yeah, I gotta keep reminding myself that it's coming out because I mean it's gonna sneak up on us. I mean it's what is it, June
June
26th,
21st.
21st?
June 21st. Yep.
Yeah, and I gotta make sure that I
Just
pre-order
just under a month before my birthday.
first
See,
chance I get.
right before I went to bed last night, I was like looking at what was new on Xbox, and it was like Shadows of Tree. And like didn't look at it well enough to see it was a pre-order or anything, but I was like, oh man, it's already out.
You
Like,
bought that on PlayStation, didn't you?
yeah, so I would have to get it on PlayStation. But I'm just saying,
Have you
like,
thought about double dipping and getting it on Xbox since you have a Series S?
no, I don't
No.
like to buy games twice unless it's unavailable to me, so I have to buy it twice. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like, there's tons of games. Like, if it's free to download on the other system, I'll probably do it. Like, I'm thinking about downloading Dead by Daylight on here because I can't obviously play it on my PS4 right now very well. But that sucks because that's about $30 worth of DLC that I can't use.
That does suck.
You know what I mean? Like,
What
because I bought all the killers and survivors.
what game
What's
have
up?
you guys bought the most?
Like in-game
Just one
transactions.
singular game, like for whatever reason you have bought it multiple times. Maybe it was played on a different console, or maybe you traded it in and then you bought it
SSX.
again.
The
SSX.
Jack and Daxter games.
Jack and Daxter.
Yeah.
SSX tricky.
What did you say, Alex?
Oh, sorry. SSX tricky.
SSX, that snowboarding game.
Yeah.
So what's the story behind that?
Man, I literally was playing it last month.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I love that game because I have a stuff downstairs, like my Wii and GameCube and all that stuff.
So why do you keep buying it?
Oh, just I don't know, man. Like something about it. Like I listen to the soundtrack at work, like still to this day. Like I am like it's probably peak nostalgia for me. It just reminds me of like growing up and being at my grandma's house. Played it a lot there, and then I also played it when I was living like with my dad and our whole family. We used to all live in one big giant house out in the country, and that was pretty fun for a while. Growing up,
So,
obviously.
so were you trading it in and then buying it again?
No, I never traded it in. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, I probably have. Probably in like my lower stages of life.
So how many times have you bought it?
I think I have bought in it at least 13 times now.
Jeez,
Holy
that
shit.
definitely beats my
Yeah.
record then.
Oh yeah, dude, it definitely beats mine too.
But, like, I haven't like paid for it each time. So does that count?
Yeah, you got to pay for it.
Okay, so probably 6
Okay,
then.
then you're probably matched with you're about matched with mine then, basically.
Yeah.
I bought Jack 2 and Jack 3 for PS2 back in the day, and then I bought the collection edition on PS Vita, and then I bought the remaster. I don't know if they're actually remastered, but I bought them again on PS4, and I think that's it. So 3 times.
So yeah, just porting them over basically. You never traded them in.
No. Well, whenever I don't know whatever ended up happening to my PS2 back in the day, so I don't remember what ended up happening to the games either. I don't know I really don't know what happened to them. The I sold the PS Vita and games because I was just not playing it.
You know, mine is actually Tony Hawk Underground. Just trading it in.
Although now, since I've bought several games digitally and I'm starting to buy them again physically, so there's a bunch of games I bought twice now, like Demon Souls remake, uh, Ghost of Tsushima, Dark Souls remastered, Jedi Fallen Order. That's about it.
Yeah, Dark Souls is definitely climbing up there because of course, I got the original release, and then I bought it for PC, and then I got Dark Souls Remastered for the PC, and then I bought it for Xbox, and then I got the PS4 Dark Souls Remastered. Not in that order. I think that's it so far. Just
I think I bought Skyrim about 4 times.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I have bought that. Oh man, I bought it the first time I got it was on Xbox 360, and then my brother, I had to leave when I moved in. When I met my wife and moved in with her, I had to leave it behind for my little brother. And then I got it for I bought a Steam copy for PC and played it like that. And then I got another 360 and I bought it again. Oh, actually, Skyrim beats Jack and Daxter. I think I bought Skyrim 4 or 5 times.
heck.
Yeah. Completely forgot about Skyrim.
Probably gonna buy it one more time.
I'm not going to buy it again. I'm done.
They have that new anniversary.
I'll probably never play it again. I'll either play Starfield. If I'm playing Bethesda, I'll probably play Starfield, and then I'm just waiting on Elder Scrolls 6
Starfield.
because I am waiting for that. That is going to be. I'm hoping that it's great.
See, Starfield made me want to go back and play Fallout and Skyrim because I'm just like, God, this doesn't satisfy.
Fallout is one that I haven't been able to click with. They're coming out with a native Xbox Series X version and S version that's going to be like remastered sort of. So I'm going to give it a shot because it'll be on Game Pass. But I'll give it a shot and maybe it'll get its hooks into me. I can never get past the opening town where you first fight that monster with the mech suit or whatever it is. I can never get past that part. I lose interest. Huh?
Oh, you do lose interest. Yeah, I hate that part. Like honestly, it's the dullest fucking moment of the entire game. That
Yeah,
part.
I always lose interest at that part
But after
in
that, it
Fallout
gets
4.
really good. Like, that's the thing. Like after that, everything's pretty freeing, and you could just
Yeah.
opt out to not do that at all. You know,
Hmm.
I mean, no one will go to your settlement, and you can't start all that. But I mean, if you don't feel like going back to your settlement whatsoever,
And
then
I thought about trying to get into Fallout 76 just because it's based in around where I grew up, and I can like actually go to locations I've been to in real life in the game.
Did you find your house?
I don't think that it has my actual hometown in the game, but it
Oh,
has a theme. It has a theme park, not a theme park, but like an amusement park in the game called Camden Park, and I went there so many times as a child, and the fact that it's in the game kind of blows my mind.
yeah, that's wild.
it'd be crazy if they put in like that, like a investigation on like the houses that they actually put into the game, like who's died in this house before, and then like have like a memento of them somewhere in the house, and
That would be nuts.
it'll be like
And I know they have Mothman in the game, and Mothman is a pretty notable West Virginia symbol. But yeah.
we have pretty prolific boss in that.
Have you played 76?
No, kind of thinking about it lately.
I've thought about it several times, but it just got such terrible reviews. I don't know if it's any good.
Like now it has pretty good reviews, and they have a lot of DLC for it that seems to
Yeah.
expand that game. So I have been thinking about it. I just downloaded Diablo onto my Xbox, Diablo 4.
Yeah, it just came on the Game Pass.
Yeah, I was thinking about trying it. I tried to download it on my PC, and it's like it required me to sign into a BattleNet.
Yep. I read about that.
Oh my
Kind of lame.
God. Like, I'm so tired of like doing third party, you know, deals so I can play a fucking game. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
EA,
I know exactly what you mean.
Blizzard,
Ubisoft.
yeah. Ubisoft is the worst, I think.
Yep.
Need for Speed even does it now. That's pretty lame.
Yeah, I wonder how many times they can do that open world trope where you got to activate a scan of the area from climbing on top of a tower. In Final Fantasy VII Rebirth does that, and you activate a tower, and it's just like, oh, here's some places you can go to.
I liked it the most in the older Assassin's Creed games where you go onto those perches and then it unlocks all the points of interest and stuff like that. It felt the best back then, but I mean it has gotten really stale.
I thought it was really good in Far Cry 4, actually. I remember I had a really funny moment where I was flying in an airplane and I crashed into the tower and landed in it.
That is really funny.
Yeah, Far
I forget
Cry
about the Far
games
Cry
have some
games
really
sometimes.
cool moments, unscripted moments. I remember one time
Mhm.
I uploaded the short. I'll have to link it. Where I was talking to an NPC and all of a sudden all the NPCs started freaking out. I'm like, what the heck is everybody freaking out about? And it was a hawk flying around the area and everybody was trying to kill this hawk. And it was just the whole situation was chaotic. And then all of a sudden a plane comes out of the sky and starts shooting at the hawk, and that's what ends up killing it. And the hawk just slowly floats down to the ground. It's like, what the heck? It's a moment that's like completely random, and I don't know how often it
It's
happens to
crazy.
people, but it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in a video game. And
That
that's
was
just
Far Cry 4.
yes, but this was Far Cry 4.
Have you guys played
Dang.
Far Cry?
It's 4 or 5 actually. I can't. I think it was 5.
I haven't played 6.
I have 6. I haven't finished it. They just started loading a bunch of crap into everything, and I just got tired of it. But I want to go back and finish it.
I like downloaded it and then I deleted it. I was like, I have the motivation to want to play it.
I played like half of 4, and then I got tired of doing all the open, like you said, all the basic open world tropes. I kind of got bored of it, and then I tried 5, and it was a little bit more compelling because of the story. Seemed really interesting with the cult and all that. But I eventually dropped it for something else as well.
I got into how you could co-op it on 5. I really enjoyed that part. Me and my buddy, he brought his TV over, and
Oh, those are good times.
yeah, he brought his TV over and
Yeah, I remember I
PlayStation.
used to do that myself. I would put my flat screen was just small enough where I could put it in my suitcase and take it to my cousin's
Right,
house.
yeah,
Nice.
exactly. And this was like 7 years ago, so it's not even like that
Right.
young. But so he brought it over and we were playing Far Cry 5.
Have a LAN party.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. Like Far Cry is great fun co-op. You know what I mean?
I loved Far Cry 2. It was my favorite in the whole series is 2.
There was
Far Cry
this.
2.
I never played the first one.
There
I
was
beat
this.
the first. I beat all of them actually. Besides, actually, I beat all the original ones, not 3 and up. Primal was really cool though. Thought that was an interesting little bit.
I need to finish that one. There was this treasure cave
I forgot about that one.
in Far Cry 5, I think, and I could not figure it out. It was a setup where you had a car sitting on a rock, you had a pool of water, and the chest was on a cliff. And I was like, all right, well, I got to get this car in the pool of water somehow, but I cannot push the car. There's nothing else. I can't jump from that car on that spot to the cliff. It's just far enough away to where I can't make the jump. And I spent so long just looking around, and I just happened to be
Grapple hook?
no, I just happened to be crouching around the car, and I noticed a prompt popped up, and it said release brakes. And I'm like, no other moment in the game I have to do this. Not even in the story where you had to release the brakes on a vehicle. So I did it, and it fell into the pool of water, and I got the treasure. And I just
That's pretty cool.
And it was just so incredibly random of a mechanic being having that mechanic like that where the game doesn't even mention it. I wonder if they just overlooked teaching the player that you can do that. I think I discovered it myself because I didn't want to look it up on how to solve it because I'm like I gotta be able to find it. There's got to be something here I can see.
I hate it when you have to leave the area to go find something to bring back. It's like, it's the puzzle. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, no, I really enjoy like how they have the whole puzzle set up. I like how I don't know, man. Like I feel like Far Cry is like really fun halfway through each game. You know what I mean? The first half of each game is like a lot of fun, and then you're like, this is getting really tedious.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
There was another random moment in Far Cry. It was actually Far Cry 6, and I was at one of these border stations, I think, or just a check station or whatever, where they had enforcements, law enforcement's there. And I'm just standing around after I claim the area. You kill all the enemies there, and then you can the area you can take over the territory. And there's an intersection. One person was on a horse. Actually, yeah, one of the people on my side, they were on a horse and they were crossing the intersection. Then one of the bad guys in a jeep runs over the horse, and then they have this all-out war, just because they had this conflict. They ran over, killed the horse, and they're all shooting at each other, and it's unscripted as well. Just a totally random moment. It was fantastic. I don't know if I even recorded it or saved it anywhere, but it was another fascinating moment.
Red Dead Redemption definitely has like those random unscripted moments pretty well too. You seen that video where the horse kicks the guy in the head?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I think I saw that.
Starts walking off and then just gets knocked right in the back of the head.
I loved in.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I loved in Red Dead 2 when you could just be going through the forest and all of a sudden get attacked by a bear.
My horse died by tripping on a wooden fence. It just broke his neck.
Dude, my horse getting killed, the same horse that I had from the beginning of the fucking game. I was like really far into the game, like 30, almost 40 hours into the game. And I fucked around and got my horse killed. And I reloaded the last manual. I had to reload the last manual save that I had. And it put me back like 8 hours. And I was just like, no fucking way. And so I stopped playing the game because of that, even though I was still enjoying it.
I remember my PS4 crashed. It was pretty. I think it was about halfway into Red Dead Redemption 2. It was some kind of shootout at this outpost or something like that. It was a story mission, and I was under. I remember I was taking cover. I was with Dutch and the others, and while I was crouching down waiting for the enemies to come by, all of a sudden my whole system shuts off. My hard drive is wiped, and and I was already thinking, man, this game is super long, and I ended up catching up with myself and finishing the game. I'm surprised I did that back then. I think it was
Yeah,
because I was able to play video games at my job at the time, so it wasn't really that big of a deal. Yeah, I was scared to death that my save would be corrupted on Final Fantasy VII because I'm like, I don't know if I have it in me to play the whole game over again. It just is too long, way too long. I enjoyed it, but I cannot play that game again. Like
funny
just
too.
You
Because
talking
you
about
have
remake?
Rebirth. I mean, remake as well. I can't play through both of them again. It's just way too long.
oh
Which one's
yeah, no,
longer, remake or rebirth?
God, it felt like Rebirth was longer, even though it has fewer chapters than remake.
some
I
of the chapters in remake were like pretty damn short though.
think so. Chapter 13 in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was definitely the longest, but I actually enjoyed that chapter a lot. The final chapter was actually really short because most of the time you're just fighting someone.
Was the final boss Sephiroth again?
Yeah. It's safe to say that Sephiroth is the last boss.
Pretty much all of them.
Was he harder or easier or any better or worse than the first one?
I don't even remember. I know you fight him at the end of
Damn.
remake, but I don't even remember that fight at all. I just know you fight him I don't even remember. I had to look back because I just I don't remember the fight at all. But I know it
I
happened.
remember. Oh, so like
That's
in the fight,
unfortunate.
you would have like Tifa would come in and do an attack. You had to like switch between them because each one would individually fight Sephiroth. Wasn't that it? Or they're like doing it as
Maybe
a team, but it was like all like they're doing like their separate things to them, kind of thing.
in Rebirth there was a lot of team switching, and I hated that. I just wanted my team. I wanted the team that I developed over the whole playthrough. But they were like, "Oh no, you got to play as Cloud and Aerith at the final phase." I'm like, I don't like Aerith. I didn't play the game learning how to play as her properly, and I mean, I eventually did it. It was just annoying.
Who was your preferred team setup?
Cloud, Barrett, and Red 13. Barrett was more of my tank character. I would use my range character. Whenever things were getting a little too spicy close range, I would switch to Barrett and have him shoot, gain the MP so I could heal or use specials. And then once the boss or enemy was targeting Barrett, I could switch over to Cloud and then attack the boss's back while he's dealing with Barrett and just kind of do that back and forth. And that was extremely effective and it worked for me throughout the entire game. Just doing the proper character switching.
It's funny because Final Fantasy Type Zero, um, that game you have 17 plus people who all fight different,
Hmm.
and you have
Wow.
to you play them all, like because when one dies, you just switch on to the next one until either everyone dies or the mission is over.
Oh
But
wow. Sounds like
yeah,
it would be hard to fail a mission.
oh, because then you'd be like, you just used up all your good guys, and now everyone
Wow.
else, you have no idea how to
His
fight.
ass.
Yeah, I actually, Type Zero isn't talked about like at all, but I
Yeah,
actually
I don't hear about it much.
I never heard
no,
of it actually.
it's a fun little. It's on PS Network if you ever want to try it. It's a
Is it
mission.
is it a spinoff? It's a spinoff, right?
Well, I mean, they're all spin-offs.
But it's not like a mainline entry.
None of them. If you think about it, like Final Fantasy VII is a completely different world from 8, and a completely different world from 9 and 6. All of them, not a single one. The only reason why 10 and 10-2 correlate is because of that.
Didn't they do that with 13 as well?
13-2 and 13-3. So like, and that's how they do that. Like they'll add the number of that Final Fantasy, and then they'll add another number for which one it
Yeah.
is. But so
Super, super weird.
yeah, so technically there is no mainline entry. It's all the Final Fantasy, and then
Well,
they
you
come.
know exactly what I mean, though.
You're
Yeah.
right, yeah, but no, it's just the same as any other Final Fantasy game. This one is more war based. and mission based. So you're not like going
Yeah.
like you can go grind and level up. You can go to the training area and level up there, but you're a class. You're a class of elite monster hunters, basically, or like protectors and all that stuff, and you're the top class, and you're a class of 14, ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to jack, or yeah, jack, queen, king, and jester. You know what I mean? Like that's all their names. Ace
Yeah.
Ace is cool because he actually uses cards as his weapon. Like he'll have cards like flying around him and stuff, and he'll like throw them and shit like that in like all fast succession. And then he got a guy with guns, and he got a chick with a huge scythe, and it's very anime. Like, it feels like you're playing an anime, so it doesn't feel like Final Fantasy at all, but it's fun. I would recommend it. I'm
Sounds
sorry,
like
I didn't mean to go off on a tangent about the random game, but I
oh,
would
you're good.
recommend looking at it.
Well, go ahead and wrap up. My wife is concerned that I'm not going to enjoy my birthday today, so we have 2 hours. So we got our podcast,
Yep. Kitten
time
birth.
duration preference. Do I know?
I was gonna say you could like the title could be like kitten birth.
Oh gosh, man. Yeah, I got to go check on them here in a minute.
Do I need to cut any of that out? I mean, I'm going to block. I'll have the footage. I'll have Interstellar Blade footage covering it up. But do I need to cut in the audio out for that?
I don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
That's all up to you.
Wanted to ask. So after playing I keep wanting to say Interstellar Blade, but so after playing Stellar Blade, are you sold on the game? Are you going to purchase it?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna pre-order it. Are you?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to. I enjoyed the demo way too much. I put too many hours in the demo. I got to buy it now.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I felt like that being just the demo that we're really going to be at the main game when you get into the meat of it is going to be really good.
Yeah, it's a short demo, but very impactful. I loved it. The level design was it's significantly better than I was expecting. I mean, the just jumping around and finding secret little areas that not a whole lot of people are probably going to find. A lot of people are probably going to rush it, and then you're over here finding little gems and stuff for upgrades. I'm not going to be as restrictive as I was with the demo. I'm going to upgrade my character, get the extra moves and stuff like that. I just wanted to see how possible it was in the demo, because I mean, it's going to get boring just doing the same regular attacks. I mean, I mean, stuff like no dodging, I'm going to still see if that's possible.
Are you just using light attacks, or are you using heavies as well?
Yeah, heavy attacks as well. I'm not going to be that restrictive. It's just I don't want to make it boring. At the moment I stop having fun is where I really got to put a halt on it, because I don't think it's mentally well, to bore myself to death. I'm going to end up driving myself crazy.
Why do you play games?
Yeah.
Oh, I love to bore myself.
What's funny
sitting and looking at the abyss more appealing.
What's funny, whenever I bring up these self-imposed challenges and I talk to people about them, they're like, "Well, I like to play games to have fun." I'm like, "Well, so am I. I mean, I'm doing this because I'm having fun doing it."
That's that's funny as hell.
I remember this guy one time was saying, like, he saw my tattoo and he's like, "Oh, I just started playing Elden Ring too." And he doesn't play a lot of games, and he's like, "I think I'm having fun."
That sums up a newbie's FromSoft experience.
Well, a lot of people don't understand that they have to die in order to learn to play. That's just how the game works organically. You just can't go in there and expect to kill the boss on the first try. I mean, it might happen, but depends on how lucky you get. I mean, sometimes people that are experienced, they walk in and they have a somewhat of good idea of what's going to happen. Like what happened with me on Index Gunder. I had a lot of experience, underneath my belt. I definitely didn't expect to get on my first attempt. No, I definitely wasn't aiming for it, but it just happened. I got really lucky. I don't think a whole lot of skill was involved, but it was just basic knowledge from the previous games. I remember a lot of people got mad at me about it too. I would just mention it, that people were talking about first attempts. I'm like, yeah, I actually happened to get Index Gunder on the first attempt. It was crazy. And a lot of people are like, no, you didn't do that. And I'm like, oh, well, here's the footage of me, and you can clearly see that I'm confused about what's going on. I think that footage is also on the Facebook group page of me getting him on the first attempt.
The guy panicked very hard when he turned
The
into
first time he kicked me in the face, I was like, "Holy shit!"
Well, I mean, Champion Gunder. This
Yeah.
Gunder doesn't kick you in the face,
Phoenix
does
gun.
he?
Oh, you said Udex. You said Udex.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
he turns into
Yeah, yeah.
the beast.
yeah. The pus of
He turns
man.
into the big
Yeah.
plus of man. That's right.
That scared me. I was like,
Yeah, it was gnarly.
I just started this because it was the first Dark Souls game I played after Bloodborne. Because I played Bloodborne, and that's my first FromSoft experience. And then I'm like, all right, cool. That was a lot of fun. I beat it and everything like that. Like, I'm gonna move on to Dark Souls 3. And then here's Eodex Gunder like, turning into a freakish beast right on the first
It was
battle. I'm like,
it was definitely shocking. You guys, did you guys see that glitch I found with the Undex Gunder? You guys,
no.
dang, you guys missed a lot of stuff that I used to do in the group back in the day. I used to run competitions, like
I'm
contests.
trying to remember. It's been a few years now since Alex invited me to the group, and I joined the chat. It's been like 3 or 4 years almost.
Yeah, I would actually pay people $20 if they were able to beat the times to the rules of the contest that I had. The Ancient Wyvern challenge where you had to see who could kill the Ancient Wyvern the fastest by going through everything, not just doing that stupid little jump glitch or whatever it was, jump attack glitch. You had to go through everything, the whole gauntlet. And someone got the best time and I gave them $20. There was the Undex Gunder challenge. Who could defeat the Undex Gunder the fastest on a new game, not New Game Plus? Ended up being a sorcerer. But that was
You're
really
like,
fun.
that's why I hate it.
But all that stuff is on the group. Just you guys remind me, and I can tag you in it so you can see it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And
I remember how burnt off we got about best games of 2015, 2016.
burnt off.
Remember, like, you and me were the only ones doing it after a while. It's like no one else was like, I don't want to get into this anymore.
Oh no, I remember this dude. He's not. I don't. Eddie. I think his name was Eddie, and he got really mad about my review on Devil May Cry 5. I expressed basically how I felt, and of course I could apply more to myself on Devil May Cry 5. I just don't really care for combo based games, combo based combat. I would like to learn to love them a bit more because you definitely need to apply yourself more. Well, I don't know. That's two completely different things, but. Like Mortal Kombat, I mean, it's combo based. You got to input things in order to gain the upper hand and know when to use them. And Devil May Cry 5, like I said, you got to use all that, and that just takes so much time just to input a bunch of buttons that I'm probably going to end up daydreaming trying to even accomplish.
You need to play Tekken.
Yeah, I played Tekken. I think Tekken was one of the games I appreciated the most.
It just has so much freedom, even if you're just a button masher. You know what I mean? Like, you could
Mm-hmm.
start off being a button masher and then figure it out. Like, you don't even have to look up the moves. You just kind of figure out what you're doing after a while. Like, oh, this is what this does, and this correlates with this combination, and you know what I mean? Like, oh, I love Tekken. It's just so freely, it's such a strategic fighting game. Like,
People
Mortal Kombat, I don't feel like that.
people get really defensive on Devil May Cry 5. If there have been, I don't know if you've been on YouTube.
Beloved series.
Um, there have been polls, and Devil May Cry 5 frequently appears in these polls about what's the best game, and and I for fun I just participate, and because people, whatever creates an engagement, I'll just respond to somebody. But people, Devil May Cry 5 loses pretty much every time. I don't think I've ever seen it win, and
I've never played any of them.
people are always on there saying, "Oh man, Devil May Cry 5 is so underrated. People don't know what a good video game is," and it gets very heated.
Devil May Cry 1 through 4,
Samus.
like, I beat, and man, I loved them. And right now, like, I just downloaded Devil May Cry 5 for like the third time now, and I still just can't get myself to play it.
There's a
Like,
character. There's a character in it that's really slow. I think he has a crow on his shoulder or something like that. But he's
right.
such a slow character in combat. That was one of the things I hated about the game the most and I think it's a popular opinion that he's the worst character because of just how pathetically slow he is compared to everybody else.
You think that in Stellar Blade that you're going to play with the character with the skin suit, so you have no shield?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, is it gonna be? Is it actually gonna show some parts? I mean, like just bare breasts, or is it just gonna be? I mean, because you can take the suit
No,
off
there's
in the
there's like
demo.
no nipples or anything like that.
Okay,
It
so
shows it's definitely revealing, but you don't see like camel toe or nipples or anything like that.
well, I know if you take the all the equipment off, you can see something that could resemble a camel toe. I mean, if you,
I mean, you see her ass cheeks.
I mean, the video up, I actually defeated the Abaddon, whatever his name was, without
Yeah,
a suit on. But so I'm wondering if is it gonna be that, or is it gonna be something even more revealing?
I think it's that.
It
I
is
think it's
that.
that.
Okay, so it's
Yeah,
already available in the game. So is it just more of just unequipping, or is there a mode where you just can't equip armor? I'm just wondering, what do they mean
I don't know about
exactly?
that.
Okay.
I, so so what it is the suits is what gives you the armor.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take the suit off, then you're not going to have any armor.
Right.
I think that's how it works.
So it's just more onto you to take that stuff off. There's not like a mode where you're like, hey, you can't put on any armor. That's disabled for this mode.
I don't know. I don't think so because there's only going to be two difficulty modes. So I don't think so.
I was worried about defeating the boss without having any armor on because I was like, I don't know, her butt is pretty refined and detailed here. I wonder if my YouTube video will be flagged and taken down. It might not be
Yeah, it's
revealing enough because there's a lot of stuff on YouTube that gets by, but
yeah.
Facebook,
Just
YouTube.
don't let your wife walk in while you're playing it. She might
I mean,
have
I already showed
questions.
her. I already showed her. I'm like, look, check this out, and look what they do. Look what they're doing in this game. You don't see her nipples, but you can kind of see a camel toe
Yeah,
a little bit. But it's just part of a, you know, I think it's even a metal
yeah,
piece. It's not like skin camel toe or
right.
skin flesh colored. It's like a metal piece that has a little slit in it, and that's it's got to be there intentionally to appear as that.
Did you guys ever
For
play
sure.
Agony?
No.
I did not, but I know what
So
you're talking about.
so I started playing, or I didn't start playing that game, but when it came out, I bought it instantly because I was waiting for it for like 2 years, right? Really excited. It looked like a visual
It
masterpiece
did.
kind
It
of.
looked really cool.
So I start the game off, and the first thing I do, I'm like looking around, everything looks so cool. And I look straight down, and your pecker is just hanging out. And it moves when it just wiggles around when you run around. And
They got jiggle physics on the penis.
like so distracting. Because it'll, like, if you were to run around in circles, with the analog
This
stick,
little flip flop around.
you
When
know,
when you're killing something, does it get erect?
you don't kill anything.
Oh, you
Yeah,
don't.
you're just running away.
That would be too
That's
perfect.
insane.
Killing something and you get excited.
Yeah, you
Now
just get hit and you look down like, why am I
we
hard?
know what happens when
It is
Zach
just
beats a
dripping,
boss.
just dripping. Yeah, well, I mean, that's why I like to chase that high because it's just an incredible feeling whenever you get that boss underneath these
Yeah.
challenges. Because when I was fighting the boss, with these restrictions, I wasn't getting that heart beat, because once you kind of get close to completing a boss challenge, you start getting your heart starts to pound, and that's the feeling I love to gain. And it wasn't the strongest heart throbbing I've had. I think defeating the Draconic Tree Sentinel was probably one of the strongest heart throbbings I've ever had. But it's definitely there, and it puts me in an excellent mood. I'm like every time I get something like that done, I'm like, all right, I want to wash dishes, I want to do something outside. But
I think that Stellar Blade would be a really good game to do videos with your grandpa voice.
oh yeah, he got a stellar blade with these women with got nothing on. They can put some britches on themselves. You little nasty women.
Or you could do a Master Roshi, like old pervy grandpa.
I don't know. I ought to look into that one.
About the way this she's looking.
I'm going to go in that game and do something nice. These women look like they need some help. Mm.
I'd really just rather have the old paper boy.
Yeah, where's that paper boy? I don't want to look at these women. That's just not my style. I want paper boy coming in to deliver my paper.
Oh gosh, that's
Musky
good
long
stuff.
paper boy coming around and bring me some good news. Come back here.
Got some popsicles in the
You
basement.
like popsicles? I got a whole freezer full of popsicles. You know, they actually removed that character from Family Guy right now. He hasn't been in the show for
Really?
quite some time.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Maybe he died.
They were bringing him into a lot of episodes for a while there, and then all of a
They
sudden
were?
they dropped him. He appears in the background sometimes, but they don't have a whole lot of Herbert focused episodes, or at least I don't think they actually have any at all, from what I understand.
I remember, wasn't there an episode where it showed like he was like actually like a Nazi sympathizer or something like that?
No, because he was a victim of he was in a
Oh, that's
concentration
right.
camp, and he was trying
No,
to
you're
get rid of
right.
the Nazi, the guy that was a
That's
Nazi.
right. That's
That
what it
was
was.
I think
Yeah,
that's
right.
one of my favorite episodes of Family Guy. It's such a
It's a
beautiful
good one.
episode. I like
It's a
when
good one.
Peter and Chris are stuck in the basement and they're trying to get out and they see Meg and and they just insult her instead of asking
Yeah.
her for help.
Hey,
Hey
That
Meg,
shit
you're
is so
fat.
funny.
I forgot what they did. What they said exactly. But you don't even see Meg, they just
Oh,
describe what she's doing like she's just running away crying. Alright, better let it go, but talk to you guys later and appreciate you guys jumping on.
Yeah, man.
all right, guys. Holler at y'all tomorrow.
All right.